Yo, what's up guys, hope you guys are doing good. So today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was stuck into the past, and he wakes up in a new Uchiha's body, and got Harem movie. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, Rifat, link is in the description, and also subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. What if Naruto Fuinjutsu, the art of sealing, was esoteric in nature? It could store a person's memories, vast amounts of knowledge, instinctual habits at doing something, a phantom consciousness, and even leave a portion of themselves in an object, as a countermeasure. Though such feats of Fuinjutsu could only be done by those who spent years after years of their lives to understand the art of sealing. 2 months ago, a feat of this scale occurred when the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi went rampart. Pain, or Nagato, a shinobi of Amigakure along with his 6 paths led an attack on the village hidden in the leaves. Their purpose? To take the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, and drag him to their base. Prior to this, Pain had been responsible for killing Jiraiya the Toad Sage, his own former teacher, who managed to pass down information regarding the Rinnegan user's abilities. The 6 paths of Pain lead the assault, and after turning the village into a giant crater, his target Uzumaki Naruto appeared. Losing Jiraiya was a big blow to him, and later, he agreed to go to empty Mayaboku to master Senjutsu. He had attained Sage mode perfectly. The young sage fought against the 6 paths of Pain, taking down 5 of the paths before finally the Tendo path's power became too overwhelming for him. Naruto was later stabbed with those accursed black rods, as he laid on the ground waiting for defeat. Help came in the most unexpected manner when Tsunade reappeared to help the Jinchuriki, who reminded her of both the brother and lover she had lost. Godame was not losing another person close to her heart. While her strength of display was impressive, her stamina nearly drained while protecting the villagers, and then, she was stabbed with the black rods of Pain, sending her into a comatose state. This made Naruto enter the tailed beast's berserker state, wherein the Kyuubi's chakra formed a layer of red, venomous cloak covering his body with an exoskeleton, and 8 tails. Nagato, through his last remaining path, formed a small planetoid to contain it. However, Kyuubi's will of carnage overpowered it. Inside the mindscape, the image of Tsunade getting stabbed replayed constantly. He had already lost Jiraiya. The prospect of losing someone like Tsunade who tried protecting him had taken a mental toll on him. Kyuubi grinned with joy. Naruto arrived at the gate that held back the beast, to tear off the seal, and let loose hell on Pain for committing such an atrocity. However, he had been stopped by another person in his mind. Namikaze Minato, the 4th Hokage, stopped him. He revealed he was Naruto's father. That particular revelation had made Naruto react in the most natural way he could, by punching his father in the gut. Later on, after Naruto calmed down a bit, Minato relayed that the masked man from the Akatsuki was responsible for the Kyuubi attack nearly 17 years ago. The 4th Hokage had mere moments before his chakra faded, but he proved why he was a seal master, as he ingrained knowledge of all his abilities, specific memories along with other necessary information in his son's mind along with tightening the hack Fuin. That small shift in destiny caused a ripple. Naruto emerged from the small planetoid, in sage mode, and wielded a kunai from his pouch. The blonde fought the Tendo path once more, and this time the Rinnegan user wasn't taking any chances, as he too was tired. When the Rinnegan user unleashed another overwhelming, gravitational blast to increase their gap, Pain believed he had won. Pain ignored how the kunai Naruto threw missed him by inches going past his face, and the shock he felt when the boy disappeared in a yellow flash. Naruto appeared beside him, and ended the Tendo path with a destructive Rasengan. Naruto would go on to confront the real Pain, Nagato, who, like him, was another student of Jiraiya. While Naruto wanted to kill him initially, it would have made no significant progress towards the dream his master wanted to achieve. Moved by the Jinchuriki's words, and how their master dedicated their first book to Nagato's beliefs, the Rinnegan user brought back all the people he killed with it ultimately cost his own life. Nagato died believing that perhaps this teen would succeed where he failed. Uzumaki Naruto was welcomed back to the Hidden Leaf, as a hero, finally earning that recognition he had been striving for. This, however, was merely an overture to a larger chain of events. Jinchuriki's hand wielded a simple brush, as he constructed several arrays with chakra-infused ink, each line of text written carefully, as his blue eyes scanned the matrix formula for the umpteenth time. Placing an empty ramen cup in the center of the scroll, he began to make hand seals at a rapid pace. He had to hand it to Namikaze Minato. His father was worthy of the SS rank. To have a perception like that in his dying moments, such a thought process was terrifying. The memories he received also enhanced his knowledge on seals, tactics, and overall bumped his mind to a higher level. Of course there were some unique drawbacks, but he overcame them with some professional help. Finishing the chain of hand seals, he made the sign for the ram, and a small, circular void manifested above the ramen cup. The apparent hole in the air was making winds rise in the room. Everything inside the barrier, which Naruto had set up beforehand, was slowly drawing towards the swirling aberration inside the room. Naruto observed the 4 Hiraishin kunai, and noted the added layer of seals on the other side of the hilt glowing. The blonde kept another kunai outside the barrier for an experiment. He noted how everything outside the bluish barrier wasn't affected. As Naruto channeled chakra to escape from the 4-walled barrier he set up, he failed utterly. Yada! Naruto exclaimed at his apparent failure. Happiness reverberated within him, and he would have done a victory dance like his former master, if there wasn't a knock at the door. Urging the temptation to sigh and rip whoever the hell dared to disturb him in the middle of his mad scientist routine, he walked forward to answer. "Yo," said the guest. Book in hand, nose in between pages 32 and 33, Hatake Kakashi waved his hand, lazily, as ever. "Sensei," Naruto said, his former twitchy frustration gone at the sight of his teacher. Kakashi did die, not for a very long time, but he did. Naruto would cut him some slack. "Hokage-sama called you at her office," the lanky man said. "She said it's urgent." Naruto dragged the word, a peevish expression. "How urgent, sensei? I'm sort of in the middle of making something tricky." A nasty grin had formed on his face after uttering the last word. Kakashi shivered at the look. The man remembered how his sensei and his wife would often have bouts of madness when it came to seals. He never questioned it because he had his own set of issues to deal with, by reading porn. Moving his mind away from the past, he spoke. "I'd hurry if I were you. I saw her sitting with no paperwork." "Well, that doesn't sound so bad." "And 3 empty bottles of sake." "Oh shit," the blonde thought. A cold sweat ran down his spine. Tsunade with 3 bottles down indicated frustration. Frustration leads to anger, which leads to her socking him in the jaw, which he didn't complain much about. Perhaps he was a masochist like Jiraiya. "Let's go then." Naruto stepped outside. Thankfully he was still wearing sandals, and somewhat appropriate attire. As he closed the door behind him, ink appeared around the knob before spreading all over the wooden frame, and disappearing. "You know," Kakashi said, as both started to walk away from the Namikaze residence, a house that the Yondaime was shrewd enough to build behind the Hokage monument. "I never really pictured you becoming proficient at seals." "Well, I never imagined you being Inu-san," Naruto replied, both of them starting to run at a good pace. There was some distance to cover, and reconstruction for the village was yet to start in full bloom. "Well, ANBU aren't supposed to reveal their secrets," Kakashi said, indicating a smile with his enclosed, visible eye. Finally, both of them decreased their speed to a normal walking one. "You just did." "Touché," Kakashi muttered, as they walked along. The copy ninja would have said more, had he not been distracted by the people flocking towards them. Each of them greeted Naruto, shaking his hand, gracious for getting the chance to speak with him. For Kakashi this was an uneasy experience. While he may not have interacted with Naruto when he was a child, he did keep an eye on him whenever the former ANBU was in the village. Kakashi remembered the glares, the sneers, the curses, and the neglect. How they ignored his very existence, of their hero. How they glared at him for speaking to them, and finally, for even having the gall to live among them. Human behavior was a paradox at best. If these people were to learn of Itachi's true reason for massacring the clan, Log knows what they would do. The copy ninja could tell that Naruto was a bit peeved, even uncomfortable at times, with the amount of attention and praise he received. He couldn't blame the team. This was the first time a large number of people began to see what Naruto was really worth. Thankfully, their stride didn't last too long, as they reached a very ordinary-looking 2-story building, made with Tenzo patented wood. As Kakashi pointed out, this was the new Hokage Tower, or Hokage office. The respectable elders called it a pigsty, before they were arrested of course. That came as no surprise to anyone. It was just a matter of when, and not if. Knocking at the door, Kakashi heard a feminine voice muttering "come in," and the white-haired man simply opened the door for his student to enter. "You're not coming in, sensei?" Naruto asked. "Well," Kakashi said, shrugging his shoulders, "I sort of know what this is about, but if there's anything out of the blue let me know." "Right," Naruto said, and was going to walk in, but Kakashi's next words halted him. Also, the Sharingan wielder spoke with a low tone, "I'm sorry." "Huh?" Naruto turned around in confusion. "Sorry for what?" "For everything," Kakashi said. Shame and regret present in his voice, as he continued, "I really should have been there for you. I looked up to Sensei a lot. I didn't realize how much I did until I lost him. And for that I'm truly..." "Apology accepted," Naruto said, as he closed the door with solemn expression on his face. "This might sound weird, but I kinda understand. I mean, some of Dad's memories show just how down and out were after you lost your teammates. On top of that you were in ANBU, so you were messed up in the head, even if a little bit. That said, I'm still a bit pissed at you, Gigi and Erosenin. I was a goddamn orphan, and I really did consider suicide 1 or 2 times when I was a kid. I didn't have anyone, and having some company wouldn't have hurt that much. Kakashi winced at the words, not only because he ignored Naruto, as a child, but also, as a student. Sharingan no Kakashi wasn't perfect, he could admit that fact freely. Teaching, and doting on Sasuke to a certain extent more than his other students did prove that. All Kakashi ever taught Naruto was teamwork, surface clinging, and helped him finish the Raisin Shuriken. Yet, the team didn't hold an ounce of prejudice against him. That made it all the more worse. But Naruto paused, and the copy ninja met his eyes. The blonde, instead of scowling, smiled. I also know that you changed. It took some time, but you did stand up for me. You even died, and I couldn't do a damn thing about it. I should be apologizing, sensei. You don't need to apologize for anything, Naruto, Kakashi said. It all worked out in the end, didn't it? Yeah, it did. We were lucky, Naruto said with an awkward chuckle. I've gotta admit though, you suddenly catching me in the outskirts nearly made me scream like a girl. I mean, people die when they are killed. Kakashi's sweat dropped at his word. Leave it to Naruto to say something awkward like that. You probably shouldn't say that phrase ever again. Why not? I mean, people die if they are killed, right? Naruto repeated, scratching the back of his head. Yeah, just don't. Sounds cheesy, Kakashi replied. Dear Lord, that sounded so wrong. Give it a few years, sensei. Then you'll see how it becomes a thing. I don't see that happening. Get your ass in here, brat. A yell of terror shook the entire area around them, and both sighed. Well, you better get going. Hell hath no fury, and all, Kakashi said. By the way, meet me afterwards. There's something I want to show you. Is it cool? Because I am craving, Naruto said with stars in his eyes. Kakashi was glad this was still Naruto. At least Minato-sensei didn't mold his persona into a boy. That would have been terrifying. Something like that. Ja-ni, Kakashi said before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. He reappeared some distance away, as momentarily closed the famed orange book of lewdness and debauchery. He looked at his right hand, and even today, Kakashi could still see Rin's blood on it. It was something he would regret for the rest of his life, taking the life of a comrade. But Rin chose her fate. She whispered the truth about what happened to her, and why it had to be done. It didn't make it easier though. It took Kakashi nearly 17 years, but he was finally able to move on. Sandaime was right, Team 7 healed him. They closed that scar, filling that gap that was left from so long ago. All he could do from now was protect the younger generation, and if Sasuke didn't reform, his patience and mercy only went so far. A new war was coming, bloody days, and even bloodier nights would follow. Of that he had no doubt. Perhaps, Kakashi thought, a dark aura emitting from him, as his eye darkened. Cold-blooded Kakashi needs to return. Patience was not her strongest suit, unless it involved gambling or surgery. Her mind worked in a different way under those circumstances. The world itself became limited to the room she would be in. Other than that, Senju Tsunade's temperament went so far. Being kept waiting was something she didn't tolerate either. Not one bit. If he doesn't get his ass in here, in less than 30 seconds I will. Tsunade's thoughts ended there, as the door opened, and in walked the hero of the leaf. He had gotten strong, perhaps stronger than her. She wasn't sure about that, but with the Hiraishin it made him broken to an extent. Add that in with 3 elemental affinities, a shitload of chakra, and his mastery over natural energy. Uzumaki Naruto was a force to be reckoned with. Yet he had so much more potential. Over the years he'd become special to her. There were a few people she would willingly risk her life for, and Naruto would always be one of them. Yo, he greeted. She sighed. Getting him to have some form of etiquette was still a laborious task. Maybe it was impossible. But something was off, and she realized exactly what it was. That's it? She asked curiously. Eh? What do you mean? Naruto replied in confusion. No, Bachan, or anything like that? Tsunade inquired. It was something she was used to by now. Granted she was old, something she didn't appreciate one bit, and being reminded of it didn't help. But Naruto not saying it felt weird. I figured I'd give you a break from that, he replied cheekily. I mean, you just got out from a coma, so didn't know you were this considerate, brat, she said haughtily. Miracles did happen now, and then. I will try. I'm not as bad as everyone makes it out to be, Naruto mumbled childishly. So what did you call me for? I'm working on this sweet new seal, and then I'll finally get to work on my other affinities. That reminds me, why didn't you focus on those 2 elements before? Tsunade asked. It was something that had been bugging her for some time. Kakashi is a good right-on user, and Yamato knew Suiton. Why go for futon? They did, but I wanted something that would make me stand out, he spoke, and in that moment Tsunade saw a true shinobi standing there. His voice filled with conviction. Plus, I've never been one for shortcuts. Except now, but even dad's came at a price. I swear I had really awkward dreams, some of them were his memories. I have been officially scared. Geez, kid, what did you see? Till she stopped herself, as it proverbially dawned inside her mind. Oh, thankfully I don't have those dreams anymore. Ino and her mind are awesome, Naruto said. Huh, Tsunade shrugged. So, is there any reason why she's still visiting your house? Oh, you know, Naruto chuckled nervously. So that the memories don't mess with me again. Training leaves me tired, I see. So, why do you put up privacy, and silencing seals, blocking out the sounds, and obscuring the windows of your house? She asked, a mild glare on her face. Well, you see, Naruto spoke, his mind obviously cooking up some excuses. Tsunade wasn't naive, she knew the two were sleeping together if Sakura's rants were anything to be believed. While it was none of her business, Tsunade couldn't afford to have a super pervert on her hands, no matter how much she would miss her former teammate. Look, brat, Tsunade spoke, as he finally stopped counting the number of excuses, I'm not one to say about what you do, and who you do it with. But keep it in your head, she's a clan heiress. Not to mention I may have to put a restraining order on you seeing how girls seem to be throwing themselves at you. Oi, Ino isn't like that, he exclaimed, defending his fellow blonde. It wouldn't have happened if we didn't spend so much time together, and locking away intimate memories like that has its side effects. Besides, it's not like we're seeing each other or something. Watch yourself. I don't want another Jiraiya here, Tsunade said. Don't want you walking around, and breaking girls' hearts left and right. That's not happening anytime soon. Besides, I don't think I'll date anyone from Konoha, Naruto replied, pouting. He then whispered something. Tsunade heard it, and her breath almost hitched. What did you say? Tsunade asked. Nothing, Naruto said defensively, and was going to bring up another topic, before Tsunade's fist banged against her desk. What? Did you say? She asked, her fist gathering more strength with each passing second. She heard him sigh, before he put his hands in his pockets. I said, he paused, if you were younger, I'd probably date you. Is this another one of your pranks? Tsunade asked, her best poker face on. Because if you are. It's not, honestly, Naruto said, not really meeting her gaze as he continued. I mean being with Ero-sennin. You pick up some of his habits, if not all of them. And I sort of started liking older women more. At first I thought it was just that, but it wasn't. I sort of realized that most of the girls in my class were either fangirls or not serious. This is confusing. What I'm trying to say is, I like women that have their priorities straight. I mean, look at me. I'd probably need someone strong-willed, kind, loving, and bossy enough to keep me in line considering how much trouble I cause. He finished with an awkward chuckle, and closed his eyes. He didn't notice how Tsunade's eyes widened, how her cheeks had become pink before she cleverly hid it. You've become a smooth talker, Tsunade said, not meeting his gaze. Instead she opted to open a drawer, and picked out a scroll. Unsealing the contents, it revealed a Chunin flak jacket. She then threw it at the unsuspecting blonde, with a considerable amount of force, as he keeled over. Damn it, what was that for? He grumbled in annoyance. Stupid blonde men, and their stupid honey-coated words make her see him in a different light. Must be the sake messing with her. There was no way in hell that he looked like a man with a charming look on his face when he spoke. That's your jacket. Congrats, you're a Chunin now, she said, and thankfully, he became distracted by it. That was good. Awesome, he said, as took off his jacket, and once more, Tsunade cursed her mind. The blamed sake in her system made her notice how muscular his arms became. Hell, he shouldn't look that good with his hair flowing like that, and he had grown his hair too. Don't do something stupid, Tsunade, she told herself. This is Naruto. A brat. Minato. And Kushina's brat. He's far too young. She fought those budding feelings back. While she was wholly abusing her intentions, the woman part of her refused the statements. It had been years since Tsunade had been remotely intimate with someone. While she was indeed old, her body wasn't, and she did crave something. Something she hadn't had in a while, and this idiot was sparking those flames again. Oh yeah, I'm going back to MT. In 2 weeks, Naruto added all of a sudden, effectively derailing her thoughts, much to her relief. What? Why? Tsunade asked. She couldn't let him find out about the declared war under any circumstance. She knew exactly how he would rush to the front lines if he found out. Well, my senjutsu training is finished, but there are a few more things I want to work on. I think I know why Kakashi-sensei called me today, Naruto said. Plus, time flows slowly there for some reason. At least I think so, anyway. Tsunade spoke. There's something else you should know. What? The Raikage's brother, Killer Bee, is the Jinchuriki of the Hachibi. He's mastered the full power of his Biju, she continued. Octopus! Naruto exclaimed, and snapped his fingers. So he's the guy Sleepy-Toed Geezer Sage was talking about. I'm going to ignore that. Mostly because it doesn't make any log-damned sense, she said. Anyways, you're going to meet up with him, and the trip will take a little over a month. But how? I need to go back to the Toad's place. There's something I want to try, if you let me finish. Plus going back and forth will waste so much time. Sure, I have to meet this octopus guy. He's going to help me, and all. You're not listening, are you? But there's so much more I can do in between. And my log, don't hit me with that table. Naruto squeaked. He wasn't ashamed. Manlier men had squirmed before Tsunade's monstrous strength. It was not every day one could claim they were threatened by the legendary sucker promising to give a concussion. Seeing the desk drop with a thud, the room shook with a violent aftershock. As I was saying, Tsunade said, her eyes closed with anger. The trip will take over a month, and you have your own plans, but thankfully there is a solution. What? Teleportation? Naruto quipped. Please hit me, he requested. With pleasure, Tsunade said, closing the distance between them, and bopping him on the head, which was enough to make him hit the ground. I'm going to be honest. I enjoyed that far more than I should have. Yeah, no doubt about that. Naruto got up, nose bleeding, and his jacket went from pure green to sporting spots of red. Oh great, now my Chunin jacket of authority is tainted. Do you live in your own world? Well, the seas aren't made of broth, and it doesn't rain ramen from the sky. So no, he said, and felt Tsunade's palm settle over his nose, a green glow emitting from it, and a small warmth encompassed him. Wow. Yeah, my mystic palm is a bit different from Sakura's, and Shizen's, she replied. It's because of the chakra nature difference. Not that, he said the moment she stopped healing him. It didn't take that long regarding his freakish healing rate. I meant your hand. It was, really soft. Did you really mean it? She asked, her gaze moving away from him. Yup, soft as silk. Know that, you stupid idiot. She paused for a moment, her voice low. The other thing, about me being younger, and you. Well, yeah, Naruto said, you're probably one of the few I'd ever want to date. That or someone like Mom. I mean, she seems like someone who could keep someone like me in line. Developing a crush on your mother, huh? Tsunade smirked. No, he denied. The pink on his cheeks said otherwise. Okay, maybe I did. But can you blame? She's gorgeous with that red hair of hers. Dad was lucky. I mean, she's probably the most beautiful woman I saw, just like you, and your amazing hazel eyes. Charmer, now get, she said, and motioned for him to leave. Before he could, she spoke again, almost forgetting. Naruto. Yeah? He stood up, and faced her, almost as tall as her now. 3 years with Jiraiya had been good for him, in addition to the added growth the Kyuubi's chakra had on him. You know what? Fuck it, she said. I don't follow an MPH. Naruto couldn't finish, as he felt a pair of soft lips over his own. The Naruto of old would have frozen. Taught by Jiraiya, he could only follow his master's advice, and go with the flow. As their lips caressed each other's, Naruto opened his mouth, and soon enough his tongue met with Tsunade's, as they fought for dominance, before finally separating for some time. He incoherently said, breathing a bit raggedly. Flash to your place, now, Tsunade said. But what about the office, he asked, only getting another kiss that ensnared him further. I finished the work for the day. Besides, Shizen can cover for me, she said, her voice dangerously sultry now. What does this mean? He had to ask. This was Tsunade, and he wasn't sure how to feel about this. Granted she was old, but she didn't look old. She didn't feel old. Hell, he had some thoughts about her every now and then, he wouldn't deny that. Still, I don't know, she replied. But whatever it is, I'm going to enjoy this for one day. I haven't really been with anyone since Dan. I need something to calm me down. Can you do that for me, Naruto? That was all he needed to know. Her saying his name. Sure, things wouldn't work out between them. Time had made sure of that. But for today, and some other nights if he was lucky enough he would oblige. Sure, he said, sure that the perverted sage in heaven would be proud. And with that Naruto and Tsunade disappeared in a yellow flash, appearing in his house. In the bedroom, conveniently enough. It didn't take long for them to heatedly take each other again, but once Tsunade's kimono-style blouse came off he thanked the gods of all that was eki, and hentai, as Jiraiya taught him. And the log, always the log. I see it, Erosenin, Naruto said, as he looked at a topless, blushing Tsunade, her magnificent chest waiting to be ravaged. That near-death beating of yours did not go down in vain. Hey, she said, in an almost shy voice yet having some sass in it. What the hell are you looking at? The most beautiful woman in the world, and was all he could say before Tsunade pulled him by his shirt. He only noticed now how his parents' picture frame was facing them. I'm sorry, but this is worth it. Pain everywhere, Naruto groaned out, with all the strength he could muster. "Oh, that's just weakness leaving the body, and karma working its charm," said a beautiful red-haired woman. Her violet eyes twinkled with mirth upon seeing the teen sit up, cracks resounding with his movements. "Karma has nothing to do with it, Ka-chan," Naruto muttered, as he held his ribcage. Sure, the whole thing was in his mind, but being slammed around with Kushina's chains was not nice. Now he knew how the Kyuubi felt during their fight when the beast was held down. The poor, big incarnate of destruction. "Well, I wouldn't have done that if you hadn't slept with Tsunade in my room," she yelled, her hair flickering wildly. It was eerily reminiscent of how the Kyuubi's tails would menacingly float. "Do you have any idea how awkward it was watching my little baby plunge himself into a woman decades older than him? Technically speaking, her body doesn't age, as long as the seal is in effect." "That's not the point," Kushina said, her first manifested chains to emphasize the yet-to-be-said point. "You turned out a lot like Jiraiya. Honestly, having sex with someone even before you're married." "Really?" Naruto questioned. "What do you mean, really?" Kushina replied. "I know," Naruto simply said, looking away, his own cheeks red. The image was vividly clear in his mind. "No, what?" Kushina asked, not liking how Naruto was dodging her questions. She wanted to give out a beating. In her opinion, it was wrong. "About the Horatian mark on your left ass cheek," he replied, and instantly received a jackhammer-like blow to his face. Kushina's face and hair shared the exact same color. That's not something you say to your mother," she said, and wildly flailed her arms around. "Gonna be honest here," Naruto said, clutching his head in pain. "At this point I'm sure I have brain damage. With that filthy mind, I'm not surprised. Jiraiya corrupted you way too much," Kushina said with an angry glare. "That's rich, considering what you and Tuchan used to do when you were 16, Naruto replied. "Okay, maybe he was a bit of a pervert, all men were dash. But people really ought to cut his former master some slack. Jiraiya was lust incarnate to a certain degree, which he proudly admitted, but the man had admirable traits too. He passed on his dream of bringing peace to the shinobi world, and the Toad Sage firmly believed in Naruto too, not to mention Minato, and Nagato backed that statement. On a side note, and a very wrong one, Kushina looked cuter with the blush. Naruto, you piece of shit, he told himself. That's your mom. Think about Ino, and Tsunade naked goddamn red hair. That was different. Kushina tried to defend her actions. Oh yes, having sex in the Uzumaki Mask Temple was different, alright, he said, and this time dodged the blow. Ka-chan, stop it. I'm pretty sure I'm beyond the whole sex lecture thing. Maybe, but it's my job to keep you in line, she said with a depressing aura while sitting down. I don't want my only son to turn into a lek. Don't worry about that, Ka-chan, Naruto said, as he sat near her. The thing with Tsunade was unexpected. As for Ino, well, that just sorta happened. I mean, I know Tuchan didn't want to give me those memories seeing how he had a human-sized claw through his stomach at the time. But watching him, and you going at it like rabbits 3 out 5 times when I slept, outright scarred me. I didn't ask to see how I was born. Well, Kushina said, trying to make up an excuse about her, and Minato's active lifestyle to keep things kinky. She failed. On top of that, it was you, Naruto continued, not really caring to sugarcoat his words. I mean, look at you. You're a freaking goddess with those violet eyes, red hair, and face that'll make any man's breath itch. You can't really blame them for not having a crush on you at one point. Really? Kushina asked curiously. Then it morphed into a teasing smile. Naruto-chan had a crush on his Ka-chan? Stop it, Naruto grumbled. Her poking his cheeks didn't help. It took a lot of time, mind tampering, sex with Ino, and Tsunade to temporarily forget about you. Perv, she said, rubbing more salt into his wound. Deal with it. I could say the same about you too, Naruto said, and for a moment nothing was said between the two. Kushina started giggling, which morphed into a full-blown laughter. It was infectious, and Naruto soon joined her. So, she spoke again. Were you serious about the crush part? As wrong as it sounds, yes? You can't blame me though, Naruto said, not looking at the redhead who ruffled his hair. He felt like a child, which he wasn't, but he'd let her have this. She was his mom after all. Don't worry, Naruto-chan, Kushina said. My boy is already this handsome and strong. You'll find someone like your Ka-chan. Who knows, she might be even more beautiful than me. I doubt that, Naruto said. Seriously, I'd have to find your doppelganger. Then a gloomy expression took over his face, as he could feel her chakra signature slowly fading away. It wasn't fair, he had just met his mother for the first time in his life. True, he had seen memories of her from his father's projection of transferred memories, but that didn't change the fact he was seeing his mother for the last time. How much longer can you stay in Ka-chan? Naruto said with a downed expression. Not much, Kushina replied sadly. She then looked at her son, knowing that she only had a few select words left to say. I know I don't have much time, son. So listen closely. Naruto merely listened to the words his mother said. This was possibly the last time he would ever speak to her. He deserved more time with her. He deserved more time with his father. He had just known them for a few minutes, and they were leaving him. I'm sorry we couldn't be there for you when you grew up. Because of us you had to live a life scorned and hated. You never knew what it was like to have parents. Kushina choked out, tears fell freely. It was still a miracle, how her son hadn't outright hated his parents for doing this to him. He had a strong heart, her son, like a true Uzumaki. Don't worry about that, Ka-chan, Naruto said with a grin. He slowly put his hand over his chest. As he spoke, I never hated you guys for that. In fact, deep down I knew that you guys loved me. And besides, being fuzzy isn't such a burden. Well, it wasn't, and I guess it was because I always sort of knew that my parents were looking out for me even if they weren't here. Looks like I was right. The moment he finished he felt a familiar sense of warmth around him. His mother was hugging him. He too hugged back, and gripped her, as tightly as he could. He could see the lower portions of her body fading into golden dust, disappearing into nothing. Don't give up until the very end, Naruto. But something tells me you won't. You're my son after all, she said, as she laughed, and cried at the same time. Damn right I am, he replied with a tone of confidence. Her form was fading even further. Only her upper body portion remained, as she said her last words to her son in this world. Thank you for letting me be your mother, and for letting Minato be your father. Thank you for being our son. Thank you, Naruto. Damn it, you made me tear up, Ka-chan, he said to no one, as he stood alone in the inner shell of his mindscape. Even beyond death, his parents had helped him. He closed his eyes, as the last few drops of tear fell, and vanished. He opened his eyes, as the blue orb shined with determination. Whatever doubts had previously plagued his mind had disappeared, as he channeled the Kyuubi's chakra to gain a golden cloak of chakra covering his body. With this power, he would stop the Akatsuki, Madara, Tobi, whatever he called himself. He was the last hurdle. This should be enough to take him down, Naruto thought to himself. From Yuchan's memories, Madara's biggest weapon is his intangibility. If I can just time my attacks right, I should be able to defeat him. Deactivating the form inside his mindscape, his thoughts went back to everything that transpired after he was recognized as a hero those 3 historic months ago. Sasuke joined the Akatsuki, Danzo's attempt in becoming the Godame, and being killed by the Avenger. The truth behind the Uchiha massacre being revealed to all. Naruto clenched his fist, and cleared his mind. He would keep his promise, and break this cycle of violence. This was something he owed to not only his master, his parents, Nagato, but to every single shinobi who had to die because of flames, war, and hatred brought forth. Or Uzumaki Naruto would die trying. The shadow of death loomed over Uchiha Obito. Birds chirped, as Kakashi reappeared from the spatial distortion that existed in one of his eyes. Seeing Obito alive shook him. He had adopted the Uchiha's ideals on camaraderie. They played a large part in his life. Witnessing the person he thought dead to be responsible for the deaths of Minato, Kushina, and countless others in the war took a toll on him. Obito caused doubt to surface, especially regarding Rin's death. Of course, it was Naruto who broke him out of that self-loathing, and provided the push he needed to face his former teammate in the Kamui dimension. Kakashi won the battle, but at a steep price, as the Uchiha escaped leaving the masked Jonin with a nasty wound. Obito managed to stab Kakashi in the chest, and if it weren't for years of working through pain, he would have lost consciousness. He needed time to tend to his injuries on the spot, and mentally praised the Shinobi Alliance for coming up with the emergency aid scroll that was planned out by the Godame, Hokage. The copy ninja carefully and patiently closed the wound, making sure there was less room for it to hinder his abilities later. He took 2 soldier pills, letting his chakra build up. Traveling out of the Kamui dimension would take a good amount of chakra, and considering the plan of action he had already set forth, Kakashi would need to conserve another chunk of it for a specific purpose. When he saw from his shared vision with Obito's other Sharingan Naruto, and Sasuke fighting against Obito, he bided his time. The copy ninja's faith in his 2 students solidified when he felt the dimension shake, and slowly collapse, and Kakashi used his chakra to emerge while making hand seals at the same time. Now, he stared down at the limping form of Uchiha Obito, a former shell of the great person that Kakashi knew, a man he failed, and a shinobi the Sharingan wielder looked up to. The person on the ground, white-haired, withered, and desperately clinging to life was not Uchiha Obito. This was Tobi, as Kakashi now called him inside his mind, a man who orphaned Naruto on the day of his birth, a mastermind responsible for the Bloody Mist's internal conflict, a human who sought to wring freedom from humanity, and trap them in an endless dream world. Whatever doubts that lingered inside his mind had vanished, and Kakashi would end this. This was his responsibility. His students had done enough. Kakashi, the copy ninja, turned towards Sasuke. The raven-haired teen looked weary. If you're going to kill him, don't waste more time. Raikiri, lightning cutter, Kakashi muttered, as the chirping of birds slowly decreased, and the coalesced lightning sharpened to resemble a blade. Sensei, he heard Naruto speak, who was still in sage mode. It was good to watch how the blonde didn't let his guard down. Are you sure? Yes, the copy ninja replied, his voice firm. This person isn't Obito, not anymore. You two have done enough, now rest. Seeing Naruto nod, and Sasuke following him gave Kakashi all the confirmation he needed. The Jonin looked at the withered, white-haired man, his body slumped against the cold rocks a few steps away. His breathing was hoarse, followed by an occasional choke, and he was trying to say something. Kakashi, he muttered out. What the hell are you waiting for? I want you to look me in the eye when I end you. I want you to realize you were wrong. That all this was for nothing, Kakashi replied. He heard laughter. It was empty, and Kakashi could hear the hopelessness in it. He saw how the former Jinchuriki finally began to shed tears, as he continued his chortle. It went on for some time before the broken man spoke. Be Kakashi, he said, and for a single moment Kakashi faltered. The image of the broken man was replaced by a cheerful teen wearing goggles, adorning a stupid expression on his face. Memories hammered their way into the copy ninja's mind, as he repressed them. He told himself this wasn't his comrade. This man was a murderer, a being seeking to bring order through chaos, and trapping the entire world to get his way. Do it, the man whispered, as he cried. End it. Do it before Madara makes me. And once again he coughed, spitting out blood, as he choked on his ragged breaths. Once more Kakashi faltered. He had been preparing to be the cold-blooded killer he was back during his ANBU tenure, but it seemed that staying with Naruto had rubbed off on him a bit. Before Kakashi could say anything, his eyes witnessed a black ooze making its way out of the ground. A face could be seen, its eyes white, as a smile could be seen on the sludgy creature. Black Zetsu, the copy ninja thought, but it was supposed to be imprisoned by the Harem squad unless they caught a clone. No, Obito weakly rasped out, as Kakashi saw the shadow extending its body like fluid, as it latched on to the downed Uchiha. Kakashi knew it would be too late by the time he covered the distance, yet he still dashed forward, as the lightning cackled menacingly. The world narrowed down for the copy ninja, his Sharingan eye focused on Obito, and Zetsu, as he rushed. However, he stopped himself when he saw Zetsu disappear in a yellow flash. For a single moment, he saw a silhouette of an orange-clad person appear, and just as quickly disappear with the shadow-like creature. Kakashi, Obito spoke, his tone barely above a whisper. Do it please. Sasuke, birds chirped, as the Uchiha's lightning-encased sword pierced through the flesh of Black Zetsu. The Avengers cut clean through its back, and into the earth, pinning it to the ground. At the same time, Naruto weaved through hand seals before he slammed them on the ground. Black letters spread across the ground Zetsu was lying on, a seal made specifically to harden the ground, and not let anything pass through it. The black creature's hiding in surface jutsu was similar to Orochimaru, and Jiraiya had developed a seal for it specifically. The pedo snake's retreat technique was a tricky one, and this seal was one of the few ways to negate it. Naruto was now glad he had kept copies of all the perverted sage's techniques on MT Maiboku. Of course, Sasuke's sword helped too, but it was his seal that kept the escape artist in place. Yeah, badass him. I knew I sensed someone else here. Thanks to your last little surge of malice before you jumped Obito, I was able to sense exactly where you were, Naruto spoke, a cheeky smile on his face. At first I was confused because your chakra felt a bit like the Jubi's, a bit like Shodaijiji too. Then I noticed how you kept moving around, but I couldn't see anyone. Mind explaining that bit? Naruto, what are you doing? The blonde didn't miss the annoying tone in Sasuke's voice. We have another thing to take care of. Give me a minute. Stop having a stick up your ass for once, the blonde snapped back. The Uchiha glared, grunted, and looked away. Naruto mentally congratulated himself for shutting up his former, soon-to-be teammate. He faced the malleable thing again, and continued. Now, where were we? You think you scare me, boy? It asked, and the blonde could feel the condescension in his air of voice. Soon Madara-sama will get to him, and when it does, you're all doomed. For someone who's going to be trapped in a dream world, you sure seem eager about it, Naruto said, his mind ridden of all his former amusement. Even Kurama's saying the same. Hell, he says that your chakra seems familiar to another person. Naruto saw how Black Zetsu's face suddenly looked flabbergasted. Granted, there weren't exactly solid facial features, but the blonde did pick it up courtesy of Kurama's emotion-sensing service. Listening to a beast now. Here I thought you were different, Naruto, Kurama said in his mind. The Kyubi no Kitsune, a sign of death to all, but a newfound friend to the blonde, continued, "He's getting nervous." "Yeah, I noticed," Naruto said in his mind. "Something doesn't feel right. No need to take chances. Kill him." 6 months ago, Naruto would have immediately shunned such a thought, but Jiraiya's death, and seeing the true hurdles that his father faced, as a shinobi, not to mention his own experiences, proved that there were just some people who could never be helped. There were some who could only get that many chances. Zetsu was not one of them. Hell, Naruto still had plans to kill Obito if things went south. While the former Leaf Nin did have regrets, tons of them, he was still a threat, the sole reason why Naruto was an orphan. He wasn't perfect. Far from it, the blonde was just as flawed as anyone out there, and his mercy, large as it was, did have its limits. "Alright then," Naruto spoke, Sage Mode still activated, as his right hand showed the kanji letter for sword. One puff of smoke later, the blonde had a katana in his hand. Unsheathed, the hamon on the edge of the blade seemed to exude menace. The near silver gleam reflecting off of it certainly didn't help, and with a swift motion Naruto stabbed it into Kuro Zetsu's shoulder. A writhing muffle of pain was heard, as the near-invisible coat of wind surrounding the blade proceeded to slash further into the flesh. Black blood oozed out of the victim, as Naruto mentally had a conversation with Kurama. They were yet to be recharged from their scuffle, which had lasted for more than 12 hours apparently. Fighting on the battlefield in a war truly did mess with perception. In their small chat, Kurama guided Naruto to say something to Zetsu. It was just a hunch on Biju's part. Nothing more than that, but the kitsune was pretty damn sure it might bring out a reaction. Probably. No promises, Kurama said in his mind, just to make sure of that fact. "Stupid fox, Kagaya," Naruto said, and almost immediately Kuro Zetsu's head snapped up to meet him. The blonde grinned. "Hit that on the right on the nail." "Naruto," Sasuke spoke, his eyebrow raised, as he still held the streaming lightning to paralyze the creature. "Who's Kagaya?" "Well, according to Kurama," Naruto said before he pulled the blade out of Zetsu's shoulder. "She's a goddess, or the closest thing to a real goddess." "Elaborate," came the swift reply from the Uchiha. "You've heard of the Sage of Six Paths?" Naruto asked, and took the raven-haired teen's silence as his answer. "Well, apparently Kagaya was this sage's mom." "Oh, and she's also the Jubi." "What?" the Uchiha questioned. Naruto couldn't blame Sasuke for that. He himself found out, now no less. If Kurama was a little more cooperative from the beginning, he could have known this shit beforehand. Damn foxes, and their pride. There would be the death of him one day. "Getting a bit over yourself now, Naruto," Kurama said, a bit dangerously. "You know what, maybe I'll just stop holding Sage Mode and dash." Naruto mentally yelled while trying to keep a calm facade. Though if one were to look closer, the beads of sweat and throbbing nerves on the blonde's face looked amusing. Not now, especially since Shodanjiji is fighting Madara theme. "Humph," the Kyuubi no Kitsune grunted, quite uncharacteristically if Naruto was to guess. "Fine, but after this I want some peace and quiet. Also, you're going to change this place. A sewer is not worthy to accommodate someone as great as me. Are you listening?" Sasuke's voice shook him out. Clearly the raven-haired teen was getting tired of waiting. The jerk. "Right," Naruto said, "the Jubi is the tree combined with Kagaya. Apparently the old hag is much stronger than the Rikudo-jiji. And his brother? He had a brother? Yeah, Byakugan wielder apparently," Naruto said with somewhat of an amused tone. "Makes me wonder how much of a bitch she was." "Shut up," Zetsu yelled, and tried to get up, before Sasuke simply twisted the blade, increasing the pressure, and the lightning stream. Yet the defiance in its eyes didn't waver, as it spoke. "Mother is far above you humans." "Yup," Kyuubi spoke, "I was right. This guy thing, whatever the fuck he is, works for Kagaya. If what Oyaji, old man, said about her is true, you need to finish this, Naruto. Even with me at full power, you wouldn't be able to beat her. And that," Naruto mentally replied, "is all the incentive I need." Did he want to take on a goddess that Kurama didn't want to fight? No chance in hell. The old him, he'd rush first, and ask questions later. Now, he needed to think a bit carefully before going in all guns blazing. A little planning never hurt, and Naruto drew back the katana, as wind-laced chakra coated the length of the blade. It let out somewhat of a hissing sound, similar to how a snake coils back before striking, as Naruto horizontally slashed Zetsu across the face. A squelch was heard, as the black creature's face split in two, more ooze spread like spilled water, as it covered the surface. Its body shook violently, gushing out the dark liquid, as a disgusting smell covered the area. Naruto retched a bit before jumping away. Sasuke lifted his hold the moment when the blonde sword struck the now dead Zetsu's face. "Somehow," Naruto said with a groan, "instead of making me puke, that just made me hungry." Sasuke grunted, clearly out of disgust at the words the blonde said. "Oh, don't you hn me, teen," Naruto said with a hint of familiarity. I know exactly what you meant by that. Really? Loser? That's all you have to say? You're lucky you're endearing. What? I meant, as a friend, you ass. Honestly, hanging out with Orochimaru has messed up your sexual orientation more than I thought. As if you'd know better. Wait. Don't tell me, Naruto said with a shit-eating grin on his face. Oh log, you're still a virgin. Denial through silence. Seems like your MO. Wait, you're not? Who? When? Seriously? You're just going to ignore me? Fine, be murky. Whatever else they wanted to say to each other was left unsaid, as they both heard footsteps approaching them. Neither the Uzumaki or Uchiha could claim to have seen Hitaki Kakashi this tired. Tired of everything. His right arm painted a dark red, as warm, sticky liquid fell from it to the earth. Kakashi then lifted said arm, and opened his fist. A single eyeball rested in his bloody hand, lavender and purple draped on it with concentric rings spreading all over the eyeball. For a moment the three curiously looked at the single Rinnegan. Thoughts lingered in their minds. Kakashi crushed it in his hand with all the force he could muster. More blood leaked through his enclosed hand before he let it drop to the ground. It looked more like a paper now, a dirty paper with smears of red on it. Why did you destroy it? Sasuke spoke, breaking the momentary silence. Obito told me to, Kakashi replied, as if it were the most simple reason in the world. Madara would have probably found another way to come back in a solid manner. That's not a bad thing. Rinnegan users are a pain in the ass, no pun intended, Naruto said, as Kakashi shook his head. A large force shook the area, as many people were blasted off the very ground. Red torii gates flew somewhere near them, and Naruto's eyes widened, as he heard a yell of fury echoing in the battlefield. Thankfully, Naruto was still retaining his sage mode, so he could sense exactly where this chaos emerged from. I don't mean to be that guy, Naruto said, a tad bit nervously, but that was the same thing that pain used against me. Madara, Kakashi said, as all three of their eyes looked in the direction where Madara and Hashirama were still fighting. The landscape, of course, had changed due to the freakish nature of their battle capacity, and from the looks of it even the Edo Tensei were slowly running on empty, as either of them saw a giant humanoids made of blue ethereal chakra or adamantium-like would not roaming around. We need to seal him, Naruto said, as he prepared to launch off. We need to come up with a plan first, the voice of Senju Tobirama said, as he arrived, with Namake's Minato-san's one arm. Yondaime, and I previously got close, until he used that repulsion technique. All my Hiraishin kunai around that area are gone too, Minato added, his tone grave serious. I'm low on chakra at the moment, Sasuke said, and it was true. The Uchiha had used up a lot of chakra in the fight against Obito in his Jinchuriki form, and Naruto himself was a bit tired. Soldier pills? The Nidame Hokage asked, and all three, living, shinobi shook their heads. The Senju looked at the source of the booming noises coming in. Madara sensed that Obito was dead, and later used that technique of his. So, we got a pissed off, undead Rinnegan user after us? Just great, Naruto said, as he cleaned a sheen of sweat from his forehead. Shodaime-sama has been slowing down ever since he got struck with those black rods, Minato said, and that got Naruto's attention. Wait, black rods, he yelled, and two undead Hokage nodded their heads. This is bad. This is really bad, we need to go help him, now. As Naruto dashed off, all the other shinobi followed him. Minato happened to be the closest to him. Naruto, are those the same black rods that? Yeah, the blonde said. I didn't think Madara used it on Shodaime already. What's going on exactly? Tobirama asked, as he caught up along with the others. The black rods, Minato explained, can paralyze all movements. Touching them without natural energy only causes more harm, and the victims impaled with it can move freely. Then Madara, Tobirama said, contempt lacing his words. He's been letting Nissan gain the upper hand this whole time, considering how long he's been stabbed with those. Just waiting for the right time. You've gotta be kidding me, Naruto said, as all of them saw a blue, incomplete Susanoo form around Madara's frame. Even from a far distance, the large human-like being with two faces could be seen making hand seals. Oh fuck. As all of them kept rushing forward, a shadow covered the entire landscape. The moonlight dimmed, as darkness spread like a plague across the landscapes. All the shinobi, kunoichi, and the biju looked up. A cold sweat ran down the spines of mortals, as a large asteroid descended from the heavens, and almost all of the shinobi stood still. Damn it! It's that again! Naruto yelled out of frustration. If he had Kurama's chakra mode right now, maybe he could do something. Right now he could perform 3S ranked, or a bit above that class, techniques, and then the natural energy would run out. What is that? Sasuke asked, his eyes widened at the sheer size of the falling celestial body, as it was falling slowly to create more suspense. I don't know the fucking name. But there's 2 large boulders falling, not one, Naruto said, as he was preparing to make shadow clones. Madara would have to wait for the moment. Maybe with Night Aim, and his dad, Naruto could teleport them out of here. But he had to time it right, and he was a bit low on chakra at the moment. Damn it! Naruto yelled, as he stopped, and was about to make clones. It seemed he didn't have a choice. He still had that technique left, but with the amount of chakra he had, he couldn't pull it off, and given the circumstance of now he didn't have a choice. Before he could though, he was stopped by a voice. Oi brat! An inhumane, loud yell came, and Naruto couldn't stop the grin forming on his face. Son Goku, Byambi, and the other Biju were rushing towards the 2 asteroids. Leave those falling testicles to us. Go seal that bastard. Finally I get to get loose, Shikaku yelled with glee, and his excitement towards destruction was well appreciated at the moment. Must you 2 be so crude, Isaba said with a bit of disdain. Higher, Chome. We'll hit the ones above, and these guys can blast the debris, Matatabi, the blue flame said, as the flying Kabutoari carried it in the skyline. I'm trying, Tabi. You're heavier than you look, Nanabai said, as it struggled a bit. That's kind of rude. We all weigh the same, except Kurama and I, and Gyuki and I, Saiken said, as it rushed alongside its other siblings. Well, I don't see them around, Koko said a bit haughtily, as the horse-dolphin beast raced faster than the others. Chome, Matatabi, you 2 need to hit it first. We'll blast whatever remains. Tobirama disbelievingly looked at how the tailed beasts were rushing to help the allied shinobi force. I've never seen anything like that. You should see Kurama, a guy who can be a serious asshole at times, Naruto quipped. He looked up to see 2 large spheres of black, purple, and red chakra forming near Matatabi and Chome. A sonic sound cut through the wind, as the 2 gigantic spheres of energy shot off at high speeds and hit something in the sky. A large crashing noise came, as thousands of falling boulders rained from the sky. Naruto and the others felt the shockwave that came from the sky, and that wasn't the end of it. Shikaku, Isabu, Son Goku, Koko, and Saiken were preparing to launch equally gigantic spheres, as well. Then Shikaku, Son Goku, and Saiken blasted theirs, as the 3 small planet-like orbs were fired at the falling asteroid, and upon impact, a scene of complete oblivion was seen, as a white light shone in the dark sky. Koko and Isabu then blasted their own Baijidama at the falling debris, and the result was obvious. The thousands of falling boulders were removed from existence. Silence reigned supreme for a moment, before all the remaining members of the allied shinobi force cheered in victory. They cheered for the tailed beasts, the very same beasts that they had long since despised, from when the hidden village system came to be, and now, things had changed. The era of shinobi, Tobirama said with a hint of a smile, it's changed from what I remember. We can all talk about this later, Sasuke said, not really looking to socialize from Naruto's perspective. We have to seal Madara first. You know what, team? Naruto said. For once I agree with you. In the back of his mind, Naruto knew that the Uchiha had changed. Cold and antisocial is what came to define Uchiha Sasuke. The reason behind why the blonde had unyielding faith in Sasuke was simple. Itachi's reanimation had successfully used the Kodoama Tsukumi on the Avenger, after Naruto used a contract seal to break Kabuto's hold over the former Akatsuki member. I feel like killing myself now, Sasuke added, as an afterthought. Log damn it, team! Stupid beasts, Madara said with contempt. I'll have to change my plans for the moment. You're not going anywhere, Hashirama said, his Edo Tensei form riddled with the black receivers. The Shodain made the ram seal once more. Our time has long since passed, Madara. There's no need to bring back our ghosts here in the now. You're still blind, as ever, Hashirama, the undead Uchiha said. Madara then made a ram seal, and the Mokutan user felt a foreign chakra seeping into his circuits. His entire body buckled under the weight, as his Edo Tensei frame cracked like glass, skin fell off like paper, as Madara walked forward. Standing in front of the now kneeling Senju, the ghost of the Uchiha spoke. You honestly think this alliance between the villages will last? You're an even bigger fool than you were back then, Madara said, disappointed at his rival. You're wrong, Hashirama spoke with stoic determination in his eyes. This generation is different. They're the dream we once sought to complete, Madara. Why can't you just accept it? Speaking to you is pointless, the Uchiha said, as a black rod emerged from his palm, and pierced into Hashirama's chest. It's only a matter of time, Hashirama. I will achieve my goal. Obito may be gone. I'll just use someone else to bring me back. Another Rinnegan, huh? Hashirama barely spoke, as he felt his natural energy leaving his body. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. No one here can match me, much less seal me, Madara said, a twisted smile forming on his face. I'll just bide my time, kill everyone, keep one alive to bring me back, then use the Mugen Tsukuyami. You'll fail, the Shodame said, as the last of the red and black markings on his face disappeared. Uzumaki Naruto, and Uchiha Sasuke will stop you. A brat who doesn't come close to my level will beat me? Madara said in mirth. And the Kyuubi brat with his flashy hopes to stand a chance? Hashirama, both you, and I could crush them. They have something we don't. Humor me then, Madara said. What exactly do they have that I don't? A dream worth fighting for, Hashirama smiled, before another black rod went through his chest, as his frame cracked further. I'll kill them both. An Uchiha who fights for your peace is already a lost cause, and, as for the Kyuubi brat, he's the linchpin here, Madara said, as he drew his hand. Senses became sharper with the added enhancement of Senjutsu. He's the one tying this whole thing up. In fact, he almost reminds me of you. Only more stupid. His name, Hashirama said, defiant, as ever, is Uzumaki Naruto. He is the one who will bring that peace. Even though I've known him for a short while, he's earned my trust. The entire shinobi forces are looking up to. I won't deny that, Madara said, as he felt some chakra signatures approaching him. Most of them were fodder in his mind, but if I kill him first, the entire thing will fall apart. Say if I were to fail, and he were to die, there would be no alliance anymore. Go ahead, say I'm wrong. You are. I'm not, Madara said, as he saw the battalion of shinobi approaching him. You think it's the mere conviction of the Uzumaki brat that's keeping them in line? No, Hashirama. It's fear. Fear of how strong he is. He's allied with the tailed beasts, he's mastered the power of the Kyuubi, and has an advanced form of Tobiramas. No village in their right mind would break the peace, as long as he and that Uchiha brat is around. Madara kicked Hashirama away like a discarded toy, as he crashed into the distant stony wall, making the necessary hand seals he prepared for a while using his feet, as a weapon to drive away members of the allied shinobi force that came rushing in, or kill, as the first two died upon contact with his feet. He needed to take care of the tailed beasts first, bind them, and keep them in place before he could find someone to bring him back to life. Black Zetsu was dead from what he sensed. Madara swerved away, as he grabbed a kunai with his teeth. He then slashed a random shinobi in the face before carving his way through several more. Finishing the hand seals after infusing the right amount of chakra, he slammed his palms together before slowly separating them. A small black sphere between his hands, and it slightly spun, before it kept growing larger. Madara then literally threw the sphere into the sky above, as it kept growing larger. Shin, Chibaku Tensei, true, planetary devastation, Madara said, as he made the snake seal. The surface beneath his feet was torn asunder. The black sphere above spun on its axis, as everything around it was being drawn towards it. All the shinobi that previously charged at Madara were being sucked into the warping sphere, as the very earth cracked, and flew past them. Madara of course skipped, and hopped on the ascending collection of debris, as his Rinnegan eyes found the tailed beasts waiting to confront him. Soon enough, he had gotten out of the range of as he looked forward to imprisoning his pets. I'm coming for you, filthy beasts, Madara said, and before he knew it, black flames covered his entire body. Granted it didn't hurt much, but it was annoying, and slowed him down. Using Shinra Tensei to get rid of the flames, he prepared once more, but his eyes caught a kunai passing in front of him. In an instant, Tobirama appeared in front of him. Instinctually, Madara grabbed the kunai that the Senju aimed for him, and blocked a kick with his foot midair. Only you can come up with the shrewdest methods, Tobirama, the Uchiha said, and saw the Senju smirk at him. True, not less than a millisecond passed when a yellow flash appeared above Tobirama. It was the other wielder of the Kyuubi who had a blue orb of chakra in his hand. Madara simply raised his hand to absorb it. Useless, the Uchiha said, and was preparing to swat them away, but the blonde Hokage's words caught him off guard. She's not, the blonde said before another copy emerged from above, and with him was Hashirama's granddaughter. Her foot extended, aiming for his forehead, as his bearing was changed by Tobirama. Absorb this, Senju Tsunade yelled, as her foot hammered down on the Uchiha's face, making him fly a fair distance away from them, and creating a large crater where he fell. Is it wrong that I have a boner right now? Naruto asked himself, as he saw Tsunade literally bitch-kicking Madara away from them. Tsunade, in the bedroom, was wild to say the least, but seeing her kick away an undead, legendary shinobi was just so. Naruto, focus! Kurama yelled inside his mind. You humans, and inappropriate habits for rutting with each other at the wrong time is disgusting. Shut up, you asexual fox. You're just jealous because you don't get some or any, Naruto thought, as he and two other clones were busy creating Odoma Rasengan. Then each of them separately began to add a change in nature to them. Lightning cracked, water swirled, and wind screeched, as the three blue spheres began to gain additional features. Water danced around one of them, thrusting about to unleash waves. Lightning chirped. As 6 ellipses revolved around another, the sphere sharpened at one end, as well. Finally, the last one had white shuriken-like blades spun with high velocities. As it screeched, Naruto calmly prepared one of his most devastating collaborations at the small planetoid. Once he was in the launching range, he prepared to unleash it, knowing full well that some shinobi may die from the effect of it. But it had to be done. Suetun, Odoma Rasen Hahanryu, water release, giant spiraling ripping torrent. Raitun, Odoma Rasen Rakurai, lightning release, giant spiraling lightning bolt. Futon, Odoma Raisin Shuriken, wind release, giant spiraling shuriken. All 3 launched simultaneously, as they went with high speeds towards the moon-like structure, cutting through the debris, and unfortunately some bodies before finally hitting the black core of Madara's. A large explosion occurred, as the shockwaves shook the area around it for 2 whole minutes before it settled down. Then all the flying debris in the air fell down along with the shinobi who were smart enough to somehow evade the falling boulders. I am taking a vacation after this, Naruto panted out, his sage mode finally running out of juice. He sat down, and saw Sasuke munching on a soldier pill. Where the heck did you get that? Swapped one off someone nearby, Sasuke said, as he swallowed the pill. A look of dissatisfaction crossed his face. It's not enough. Naruto and Sasuke saw how Madara had gotten up, and was now fighting against the 5 Kage, the Biju, and so many others with his Susanoo. It was frustrating to see just how powerful he was, but Naruto noted something when Sasuke spoke. Is he slowing down? Sasuke asked. Yeah, he is, Naruto said, but it wasn't slow enough, as Madara revealed his own set of black flames to kill so many around him. Oh great. He's got black flames too, Naruto, Sasuke said, as he got up. Do you have anything that will work against him? Just one, Naruto said, and Uchiha noted the grim tone of his voice. Will it work? It will, the blonde replied, and Sasuke nodded before bolting off towards where Madara was. Purple aura surrounded the Uchiha, as his Susanoo came to life, and went straight for Madara. I don't have a choice, Naruto told himself. Naruto, Kurama said. Are you sure about this? You do realize what'll happen to you? I know. And I'm not looking forward to it either, Naruto said with a sad smile. What'll happen to you? I don't know. Never really died before, Kurama said. But you will come back, right? Eventually. That's good, Naruto said. After all that shit you've been through for so long, it'll be nice to get some respect. I don't need respect. All they need to do is fear me. Oh, don't you start that shit again. Fine. Kurama, can you lend me some chakra one last time, buddy? I don't have enough, nor does my other half. We need more time. It's a shame we don't have that, the blonde said dishearteningly. Well, I guess I could always dash. Now, hold on there, Kurama cut him off. You're just going to give up. Honestly, no. I was thinking of pulling off self-destructive, but last time I checked, I'm not that art is an explosion guy, Naruto said with a deadpan expression. Well, glad to see you haven't given up. As for the chakra problem, leave that to me, the Kyuubi said, as it took in a deep breath. Minions, give the idiot your chakra. Ah. Naruto clutched his ears from the sudden shout Kurama gave. What the fuck was that, Kurama? It hurt my body more than I thought. Not now, flesh bag, Kurama chided. I know all of you heard me. The kid's got a plan that'll work. So whatever the hell you idiots are trying to pull off, stop it, and lend the kid some chakra. Before Naruto could say a word, his eyes caught a reddish-orange like glow emanating from the battlefield. It looked like smoke if he was to be honest, fast-traveling, highly concentrated smoke that was aiming right for him. Oh shit! Don't dodge, Kurama said, making him halt his action. That's pure Biju chakra coming in, 4 in 1 no less, and if I don't adjust it properly, well, you're going to shit yourself. You're kidding about the last part, right? Naruto asked, half expecting it to be a joke. The vermilion-hued fluid was getting closer to him. No, Kurama replied, now squeeze your butt in. 'Cause this is going to be more painful than that time you drank expired milk. Oh shit! Naruto yelled, as the foreign chakra hit him with full force, and was entering his body. Pain was the only thing he could feel right now. His flesh was on fire, his nerves became ice, and his mind was on the point of breaking. Still, he stood his ground, as his body absorbed the large volume of chakra. Luckily, the pain ceased after a few minutes, as smoke came off his body. He fell on his knees, and panted heavily. His hands looked like they had cracked, similar to the ones an Edo Tensei had on them. Then the mark slowly receded before his normal complexion returned. What the fuck was that? Naruto asked, as he felt rejuvenated, but there were some stiff spots, as he finally stood up. That was me opening 7 gates in your body. If I didn't, you'd already be dead, Kurama said. So, I'm part Biju now? Naruto asked, as he prepared to take off into battle. No, it was so I could moderate the chakra. Don't get above your spot in the food chain, the kitsune finished, and Naruto mentally chuckled at the words. Well, the blonde said, I guess it's time to end it all. Rinbo, Hengoku, Limbo, Border Jail, Madara muttered, as a shadow of himself moved around, and kicked 2 Biju away. The technique relied on him making a clone of sorts that separated from his body. It moved around due to its invisibility, and took care of some of the problems he had. It was getting annoying in his opinion. The fact that his body was getting slower, for some reason he was yet to find out, didn't help. The Uchiha brat was putting up a good fight, as well with a complete body Susanoo. The ghost assumed that his eyes had the same tomo as his, hence the fluid movement in his stance. Madara's Susanoo, much to his inner shame, had been destroyed by the Biju when all of them decided to barrage him with 7-tailed beasts bombs at full power. On top of that, the brat with the Sharingan was causing him problems with Enten. Of course he stopped that technique by showcasing his own versatility with Amaterasu. Then came the children Kage who were escaping his grasps with the help of Tobirama and, he assumed, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki's father. As much as Madara wanted to unleash Tengai Shinsei or Chibaku Tensei, his chakra started to become rigid whenever he used too much of it. The ghost had honed his chakra control for years, and there were very few who could even hope to match his level. Yet, this day was starting to wear on him. The natural energy did come in handy when dodging the attacks, but it still wasn't enough for him. Sasuke rushed forward with the blade going straight for Madara's heart. The ghost, having lived through enough battles, sidestepped, and let the blade pierce his arm. Pain was nothing new to Madara, and with his other hand, he gripped the blade, not letting the young Uchiha escape. Your eyes, Madara said, as he looked directly at the raven teenager. They're similar to mine. I wonder if we're related by more than just blood. The only reply the ghost received was Tobirama coming in from the side, and almost managing to slash his torso. Once more Madara managed to evade the attack, and he could use his shadow again. Channeling chakra to his Rinnegan, a clone of himself exited from his frame. Draped in white, the clone pushed away all his other attackers, as Madara focused on Sasuke alone. Shame. Here I thought your eyes could see the truth, Madara said, as he yanked his arm forward, and pulled Sasuke closer. A black receiver emerged from his palm, and was going straight for Sasuke's right eye, before the young Uchiha disappeared in a yellow flash, and a puff of smoke. The undead Uchiha hit nothing but air, as some anger slowly built up inside him. This momentary lapse in attention didn't make him notice how 4 tri-pronged kunai were buried into the earth around him, albeit somewhat of a fair distance away. Kekai Shiho Fujin, 4-corner ceiling barrier, a voice said, as lines of seals emerged from the kunai, and went upwards. More lines emerged until a dome surrounded the area, a silver-like layer of chakra coating the layer, as Uzumaki Naruto appeared there. He was still going through hand seals, as he threw out 4 scrolls at the same time. The parchments of paper were laid out, as every single letter glowed with a blue light. Kekai Kanren Jikuken, Sanren Shiki, triple layer, space-time disruption barrier, Naruto finished, as 3 layers of blue chakra emerged inside the dome, and went straight through the ground. He sighed in relief. Phew. Well, that takes care of that. Uzumaki Naruto, Madara said, his voice not having the same calm tone, as he did throughout the entire day. The Uchiha's frustrations were drawing to an all-time high, as he looked at the grinning blonde. At your service, Naruto said with a salute. To the Jinchuriki he was a bit surprised at how relaxed he was, considering what he was about to do. Perhaps it was the finality of it all that kept him composed. Things could only end one way now. You're turning out to be quite the thorn, Madara said, as he walked forward, his eyes outright glaring at the blonde, as he noted how his allies outside were yelling at him. Did the brat intend to face him alone? It was almost insulting. Even Tobirama, and that other blonde were shouting at him, and it seemed that the barrier did end any, and all attempts to use teleportation. That meant, the brat wouldn't be able to go out either. You're actually going to face me alone, Madara said after seeing the blonde nod. For a moment, he stood still before he began shaking. Then the laughter could be heard. The world saw Uchiha Madara laughing his heart out. It was purely maniacal to some, a few even feared the sight of him doing such an act. Are you looking down on me? Naruto asked, an annoyed expression on his face. Instead all he heard was more laughter. He rushed the Uchiha who laughed a bit more, before blocking the blonde's punch, and the kick aimed for his face which missed. However, Madara's smirk faded when he felt something invisible hit his face, and was driven back by the impact. His Rinnegan eyes searched for what hit him, and found nothing. He assumed it must have been something similar to his shadows, but there was nothing present. Not so funny now, huh? Naruto rhetorically mocked the Uchiha. He went after Madara again, and much to the blonde's chagrin, The undead shinobi kept dodging all his attacks while throwing the best counters Naruto ever saw in his life. Even with the clones, which were being dispelled. If it wasn't for Sage Mode, all those strikes would have landed due to the small time frame they acted in. He couldn't use Chakra Mode right now. If he did, he could end up fainting any time, and the he was setting couldn't have him do that under any circumstance. For now Taijutsu and diversion was all he could pull off, and so far it wasn't bad. Until Madara started to clinically murder all his clones with precise strikes to their vital points. Then both of them simultaneously landed a punch on each other before backing off. Some blood drew from Naruto's lips, as he noted not to get too close to the Uchiha. Not now at least. However, Madara was getting frustrated. Not because of how skilled the blonde was, no. The boy had some talent, but it wasn't enough to take him on. His Edo Tensei body was acting more strangely. His movements were becoming restricted, and the chakra flow was more haphazard than before. Having trouble, are we? Naruto said before closing the distance between them both along with more clones. Each blow cancelled the other out, before Madara extended his hand. The blonde and his copies were wise enough to go back up, but Madara's next words rendered it useless. Bansho Tenin, heavenly attraction of all creation, the Uchiha said, as gravity pulled the Jinchuriki and his clones towards him. He didn't care anymore, this would end. Enten, Hanoi Kazuchi, Inferno release, fire lightning. Tendrils of black flames jutted out of the Uchiha's body, as 5 of the Amaterasu conjured spikes impaled the blonde and his clones, each of them dispelled, except the original, and Madara saw how a chakra arm formed on the blonde's side, as it held the black flame in place. Ha! Naruto yelled, as his fist hammered against the shocked Uchiha, breaking his face. As the Uchiha fell on his back for the first time, Naruto got down on one knee, as he deactivated the chakra arm. Fuck, he thought in pain. I didn't expect so much backlash from just a simple usage. So, Madara said, as he sat back up and looked at the blonde. Tissues of particles forming to complete his jawline again. Using that form isn't helping you anymore. That just makes it easier. Speak for yourself, Naruto said with a small chuckle. It hurt to laugh at the moment, but he needed to keep it up just for a bit longer. I see you're slowing down, as well. You're not moving at the speed you were when you faced the 4th division. Madara said nothing, but the small widening of his eyes gave Naruto the opening he needed. That attack was slow too. From what I saw moments ago, you were throwing around black flames like they were spare change. Hell, your Susanoo was carrying flame blades before I came here, Naruto finished, and laughed a bit more, and internally groaned in pain. Do you want to know why? The blonde asked. If this is your way of stalling me while your comrades, Madara said, almost condescendingly, come up with a plan, you're failing. I will break out of this barrier, jail those filthy beasts, and kill everyone here. You, Uzumaki Naruto, will die before you get to see any of that happening. Well, you're 1/4 right, the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi said, as he stood up. The confusion on Madara's face made him almost glee. But for honor's sake, do you want to know why you're not able to fight like you were before? Silence was all he heard, and being around Sasuke long enough, Naruto knew exactly what it meant. Natural energy's a bitch, Naruto said, ignoring all the yells from his friends, father, and everyone else in the alliance, as they started to outright attack the barrier now. It was useless. What? Madara asked, confused by the way the teen had phrased it. Simple, Madara theme, Naruto said, hoping to get some reaction out of the Uchiha. He did not. Moving on, he explained, natural energy isn't something you can just outright absorb. There's a reason why you have to train that hard to become a damn sage in the first place. You, and your knockoff Shodanjiji copy ripoff on your left nipple isn't going to do shit when it comes to harnessing the energy. Hell, the only reason you're still walking around is probably because you have some of his cells, and the fact that you're an empty husk. I see, Madara said, as he formed a blue ribcage around him. He struggled a bit, but the first stage would be enough to do what he wanted. No Hinideto do. This brat was looking down on him with that infernal grin of his. It stroked his pride, and Madara, above all else, wouldn't concede defeat to anyone but Hashirama. Then there's only one thing left for me to do. Ending you, brat. Seriously? Brat? I'm not surprised. Even Sasuke has more personality than you, Naruto said before narrowly avoiding the strike of the blue skeletal hand that would have turned him into pudding. But I am surprised you actually talked that long with me. Really, I am. Consider it me giving you some solace, Madara said before flesh weaved around the skeleton. His Susanoo entered the second stage. A sword formed, black flames wrapping around it. As he lifted it to make a strike, he struggled a bit. If what the brat said was true, then that would explain why forming this attack, something that was second nature to him, felt this vexing. Still, the ghost could not let the insult stride. His pride, as a warrior, demanded retribution. Unfortunately for you, brat, that time is up, Madara finished, as the sword burned furiously, bleeding dark cinders, as they danced in the air. With this, he would end it. You're right, Naruto said, as his sage mode faded, and some tears welled up in his eyes. The young sage's actions once more made the Uchiha halt his actions, and said, time's up for both of us. Before Madara could bring the ethereal, blackened sword down, red ripples appeared on Naruto's body. Like a stone falling into a pond to cause small waves, the concentric shapes kept moving back and forth. All of them glowed like beacons, before chains started to emerge out of them. On each end were curved hooks, and before the ghost could break out of his stupor at this bizarre display, the red-bladed chains shot off at a speed his Sharingan couldn't track. A collective shatter was heard, as the sharp ends of the chains tore through Madara's humanoid Susanoo, and pierced the frame of Edo Tensei. They stuck inside his body, and twisted to bind themselves around him, though they did not immobilize him, as he yanked his arm in pain. Yes, the Uchiha felt pain. He was undead. He shouldn't be able to feel such a stigma in this state. Besides that, he had been through battles, and endured strikes that shattered the very ground. Yet these stabs felt like they were methodically poisoning him, weakening him, and this notion alone sent nerve-wracking jolts throughout him. I didn't figure you were someone who talked that much in a fight, Naruto said, as he looked up with a solemn smile. The chains that connected the two slowly moved around like smoke. But I guess I was lucky. You're the sort of guy who likes to feed his hubris now and then, especially against brats, and people call me an idiot. Take that, mainstream opinion. Madara tried to yank the chains off, but to no avail, as touching them made his grip falter more, and the weight that was previously on him before was weighing him down further. Still, there must have been a way to break these off. Don't bother. It's useless, Naruto said, as slowly walked forward. You really should have paid more attention to the battle when you realized you couldn't sense me anymore. Excuse you, and your extinct clan? Madara asked, enraged at the blonde's words. You didn't sense me, did you? When I swapped Sasuke's place with a clone of mine? Or when I landed from above? Naruto asked, and Madara didn't reply. Look up, maybe you'll find it enlightening. As the Uchiha looked up, a sense of dread invaded his mind. A single black spiral was there up at the converging center of the dome. It was growing larger every second, and Madara couldn't see anything beyond. All he saw was darkness and absence. Do you remember the first seal I set up? The one you saw? Naruto asked. Yeah, I had no intention of using that. But seeing how you even broke out of that super sandy pyramid thing Shikaku and Gaara made, I decided that I'd seal you into me. You fool, Madara said. You're going to seal me inside you? Do you even know what would happen? Of course I do. There's a large chance I'd die. But that's not what the seal above is for, the blonde said. Honestly speaking, the seal wasn't made to use against you. The plan was to trap Toby inside the barrier, making sure he can't use that hacks of his, and then somehow beating the shit out of him, or he paused, and pointed upwards at the black emptiness, using that tore a fabric in space, and time to erase him from existence. That, Madara, was the first seal I placed before I even landed here. The one you didn't notice. A suicidal technique. To go so far for a world that's already spelled its doom, Uchiha Madara said, still trying to break the chains. I take back what I said about Hashirama. You're a bigger fool than that idiot ever was. Maybe, but it's my decision to make. And those chains you're trying to break, that's nothing to scoff at either, Naruto said with a proud smile on his face. This is another one of my created Fuinjutsu. Unmiyaitakina Fuza, fate-bound sealing chains. It's not as cool as my mom's chains, but this technique has a few specific uses. These chains bind the both of us. As long as I'm alive, you're not going to escape from its grasp. As long as you're an Uchiha, you're not allowed to mold chakra, and neither am I. Then these seals are self-sustaining, and will remain that way, as long as I'm on this planet, the blonde said immediately, and smiled widely, even at the prospect of death. This was a one-way trip I made, and if I can take you with me, I have no qualms about that. Madara rushed forward, and punched the blonde. Do you even realize what you've done? The teen shrugged it off, and landed an uppercut on Uchiha's chin. The force behind the blow lifted Edo Tensei before he hit the ground. Madara felt a dizzy sensation. While he would appreciate such a feeling in battle, the fact that he would be erased from the world did not sit well with him, and he looked at the blonde who looked down at him, condescendingly. Take some dignity in defeat, would you? Naruto said, and looked at the Uchiha who glared at him. Right now you're as useless as I am. At least go out in peace. Naruto! The yell of Namake's Minato finally reached his son, as father and son looked at each other. What have you done? Why? The same reason you did it, Two-chan, Naruto said. To keep my precious people safe, and the world too. That's not what I wanted for you. Tomorrow's your birthday, for God's sake. Minato said, tears freely falling from his face. His son was about to die. To the fourth Hokage, there was no greater punishment than a child watching him die. How can I face your mother after this? How do I tell her I failed my own child? Just tell her I did it with a grin on my face. And I did grow a tad bit smarter, with your and everybody's help, of course, Naruto said, his voice weaker from the fact that he would be dying. Apparently, all Uzumaki are stubborn according to her. Naruto! Tsunade yelled out. This time Naruto did feel a stab of guilt inside. Both of them came to cherish their times together, even though it would probably never work. I'm sorry, he said, looking at her. I really am, but this is something I have to do. Just like how you saved me from pain. You idiot, she said before looking away, knowing exactly how stubborn and adamant the blonde could be. Not denying that statement, Naruto said he kept an eye on the Uchiha, trying something, and failing no doubt. Dobe, Sasuke said, and Naruto's eyes widened a bit. What the heck do you think you're doing? You and I are supposed to fight? What about bringing me back to the village? What about your thrice-damned dream you kept on yapping about? What sort of a Hokage in making are you? The one who finally saved his friend, Naruto said with a grin, despite the tears that fell freely. His head was starting to feel light, as his feet felt wobbly. He didn't have much time. Oh Sasuke, do me a favor, okay? Shut up, the Uchiha said, and tried to hit the barrier with a conjured Susanoo arm. It won't work, as long as I'm here, Naruto said, and laughed a bit. It was ironic really. Fuinjutsu's scary stuff. Given the right details and conditions, nothing can break it. You're not supposed to be this smart, you loser, Sasuke said, and looked at the blonde who was laughing and crying at the same time. He saw how Naruto reached for something in his pouch, and for the first time since the massacre, the young Uchiha felt sorrow. A soul-scratched-out headband rested in Naruto's headband. The blonde showed it to him, and spoke. Promise kept, Team Naruto said, throwing the headband towards the sharp prong of the kunai. Inside the seal, winds picked up, as Madara no longer fought further, and stood still, accepting his fate. I can't even use his Izanagi because of these accursed chains, Madara said, as he looked up at the void which grew larger. Yeah, I didn't know something like that existed until I saw that creepy Danzo guy use it against Sasuke. I would have never come up with that loophole about the whole Uchiha-bound thing too if it wasn't for that fight, Naruto said, and the Uchiha stared at him impassively. Funny thing, these chains won't actually work without the presence of that big hole up there. Well, it's not exactly haha funny, but get what I'm saying right. What happens when you go through it? The void? Madara asked, curiosity getting the better of him. Unique ninjutsu or fuinjutsu always interested him. If this was his last moment, may as well ended on a note better than last time when he slumped forward to death. Even if it was conversing with a brat, who smiled far too brightly for his taste. I don't know, Naruto said, as he felt being drawn towards the swirling aberration. But I know this much. I can never come back here, at least in theory. This is a door to somewhere, and the trip would probably kill all passengers. A suicidal technique through and through. But considering your stubborn drive, it's useful in that sense, Madara said, his face showing no emotions. What's the name of the... Well, I had to study a lot for this, Naruto said, as both he and the Uchiha were drawing near the endless darkness. So I only came up with a name that sorta seemed fitting instead of coming up with a badass title like I usually do. And that is? Chihaizen Shimoku, Event Horizon, Naruto said, as both of them were about to enter the darkness. That's not a bad name, Madara said before both of them became absorbed by the void. The internal area of the barrier became pitch black for an entire minute, as everyone stayed on their toes. Then the darkness lifted, and the barrier shattered, as everyone rushed forward. All they found were the 4 Haracian-marked kunai, some blood on the ground, and a scratched 8 stuck to the edge of the tri-pronged blade. October 10th, the day this shinobi world would remember, as the day of the hero. The day Uzumaki Naruto gave up his life to bring peace. Darkness was all he could see. Silence was all he heard. Absence was all he could feel. And then, small tracks of light could be seen. Grim, as the color of his blood, the crimson chains glowed, and reminded him how he, willingly, stepped into this abyss. Brighter and brighter it shone, illuminating this endless, boundless, horrific place. The dark deco of the red metal only served to make this hell look worse. He couldn't find a single speck of solace here, an eternal void of nothingness. There was just absence, cold, dark, and lonely. It was both everywhere, and nowhere. A true purgatory if there ever was one, and Uzumaki Naruto's mind would have broken had it not been for the fox's words. The beast's curses, shouts, and growls kept him from losing it. He never wanted to be alone, and yet 5 minutes after arriving the void was eating away at him. Kurama, the Jinchuriki mentally said, I want to get out of here. What the fuck do I do? That's not going to be easy, the Kyuubi replied. There was a sense of dread in the fox's voice. Naruto could feel it clearly. You said it yourself. This was a one-way trip. His hopeless blue eyes followed the length of the chains, his vision transfixed on the man on the other end. Madara looked worse than him. Violently shaking, he noted how the ghost kept clutching his heart, as if it was trying to burst out. A foolish endeavor. Madara was an undead man. He couldn't feel what Naruto was experiencing right now. He should have stayed dead. And then Naruto's mind began to feel warped and overwhelmed. He was starting to reminisce about his glory days, knowing that the end was near. He remembered those moments where his life had truly taken more steps towards who he was today, followed by his worst. Soon, a new lashing pain emerged in his body, and he screamed, "Naruto! Hang on!" Images, words, memories, they battered Naruto's mind, as he fell further into the darkness of the abyss. The pain refused to leave his side. It was a cruel companion, promising to be with him until the Shinigami came to reap his soul. It lashed at him from every corner. Invisible forces doing their best to make every single moment an agonizing one. Naruto truly believed this was hell. Breaking the laws of man and nature had a cost, a great price, as it dawned on Naruto. In his mind, this was karma. Fair and just, and brutal for the aberration he had caused. A small part of him even found it cathartic. At least Kurama was still here with him. But judging by the groans that Kitsune was making, Naruto felt his partner in crime was suffering. As much as him, maybe more than Naruto himself. However, the immortal fox was still doing its best to help his jailer. The blonde would have grinned in joy if he wasn't in pain. However, reality was sinking its claws into his flesh. He knew what needed to be done. It was inevitable. Kurama, Naruto said, a taxing effort at the moment. Without warning, the images increased, as he remembered burying Haku and Zabuza, the Chunin exams, Orochimaru, his Jiji's death, meeting Tsunade and Shizen, Sasuke's defection. However, he also started to remember when his younger brother was born, when he lost his older brother to the flames of war, when his eyes truly opened, and saw the world for the dark, dirty mistress it was. Gasping, the blonde tried to move his mind away from the disturbing showcase of bizarre and unknown memories. He needed to get that out of his head. Those feelings, the dread, the hate. He wanted it to end. Naruto wanted it all to end. To just get it over with. Focusing on his tenant, Naruto spoke again. Stop pumping chakra to shield me. We both know how this will end. The sooner the better. Shut up, and let me do my work, human. He heard the nine-tailed beast growl at him. Naruto couldn't stop himself from chuckling. Even in a gap where rules of nature were volatile, to say the least, his tenant was snarky, as ever. Stupid Kurama, and his tsunami causing temper tantrums. I'll cause a tsunami upside your ass if you don't let me focus, the beast threatened. Again, the blonde found it funny. The pain, developing a sense of humor of its own, decided to remind him of the physical horror he was suffering. You might not get that chance, buddy, Naruto thought. He could feel his heartbeats slowing down, the warmth of his body decreasing, the fatigue from fighting now all but gone. In its place, a cold numbness began to settle inside. Dread ran, skipped, and hopped through his veins. A sense of mortality tugged at his heart. Naruto's face itched, an annoying sensation unneeded in such a crucial time. Ignoring the irritation, his mind focused on the images, and the overbearing emotions that came with it. His trip with Jiraiya, where the man became something akin to a father for him. The eventual return to Konoha, followed immediately by chasing the Akatsuki to save Gaara. Meeting with Sasuke after nearly 3 years, the training to complete the Rasengan, killing Kakuzu. Itachi's death, followed shortly by his godfather leaving this world for the next. Nagato, and his eventual subversion. The times with Tsunade, and the final decision he made to end Madara. His life in the clan. He remembered when his father would sternly stare at him, reminded him why they stuck together, and hated those who resided in the forests. How much they had taken from him. The wars, the never-ending wars taking away lives left and right every single day. He remembered the promise he kept to his mother on her dying bed, to keep his youngest brother safe, his greatest failure. How could he ever forget? The love of his comrades, the fierce protectiveness to shield them, the fear of losing them. They were more important to him than he could ever assume. Naruto remembered those moments, the joy he felt when his father and brothers would proudly smile at him. When enemies on the battlefield would fall, those who dared to harm his kin didn't live long. Then, the pain that came when he failed to save them, losing loved ones, laying them to rest with your own hands, the realization of how he wouldn't get to see them again came. And with them, his joy was gone. Each loss brought more pain, more suffering, more emptiness. With each body he buried, he lost a part of himself. Seeds of hatred took their place when he felt this horror, his mind became a fertile ground for cultivating revenge. He would rub his nose in the dirty battlefields, let his contempt grow, fuel him with fury so he could take vengeance. Damn it, Naruto! Focus, he heard. The words wrung him from the rage he felt. Jinchuriki was astounded at the emotions he experienced. They were his emotions. Those aren't your emotions, Naruto. They never were. Kurama's revelation made the blonde widen his eyes in realization. It was true. They weren't his emotions, nor his memories. Even his own dream was a far cry from what little he experienced. Yet Naruto couldn't shake off the feeling. As if it was how a part of himself felt. The irritation on his face's skin began to annoy him further. With great effort he raised his hand to scratch his cheek. It felt different. His skin felt like it wasn't his own. Looking up at his hand, Naruto noticed how his tan hand looked paler. A paper-like substance then flew near his finger before attaching onto it, creating that same paler shade. Only it looked more alive. Kurama! Naruto yelled in his mind. Fear quickly took him over. What the fuck is going on? I don't know, just hang in there. And the blonde heard Kyuubi's voice cut off. Kurama, he yelled. Kurama, answer, damn it. It was no use. The strongest tailed beast didn't reply, and, as an infinite number of paper shreds continued to assault him, each of those thin, small strands hit his body with a ridiculous speed. Naruto focused on where they came from. His eyes widened in shock. The great Uchiha Madara was fading, crumbling, and disintegrating. His entire body was being erased, as the ghost looked at his body in shock. The ancient Uchiha looked at him, and Naruto could see the fear on his face. The hopelessness of no escape, the morbid sense of finality seeping into the undead warrior. The Edo Tensei began choking, gagging, and retching before he began to vomit something out. Silvery liquid escaped from the man's mouth, and Madara grew whiter by the second. His hand reached out towards Naruto, begging for help. The blonde could feel his plea, but he was too shocked by the fact how someone like Madara, someone he considered nigh indestructible, could be so desperate. Instead the man began to collapse, breaking down into particles like dust in the wind. They rushed at him, like locusts on crops they fed on him. They settled on his body, and the small silvery, glowing thing danced in midair. Slowly, Naruto's eyes saw something else. Light. He saw light. Had his prayers been answered? Was this death? The light that so many people talked about before they passed? Slowly it grew, larger and larger until he was sure that it made the Jubi seem like a drop of water compared to it. He felt himself being pulled towards it. It was stronger than pain's magnetic pull. There was no escape, and Naruto simply closed his eyes, accepting his fate. The paper particles started to gather more on his body. He didn't mind. It was of no consequence. I guess I'll be seeing them sooner than I thought, Naruto thought, chuckling. His anguish finally ended, as the growing sphere finally absorbed him, and then everything exploded. Two boys sat on a mountain, overlooking the entire area. Smiles etched on their faces. The black-haired boy spoke first. Maybe our dream will come true. A few days later, his father and brother arrived to kill his friend. The other side had the same idea. Thankfully the duo were able to avoid such a predicament. I won't let you harm my brother. It was a promise, one he vowed to uphold. The boy felt terrible that his dream would remain just that, a dream. But if it meant protecting his family, he would gladly give it up. Years passed. He was a boy no longer. A legend on the battlefield. His name was known by all, and feared by all. Despite his power he failed. His brother died, and his accursed eyes were useless. Take my eyes, brother, his younger brother wheezed out. Even on his deathbed, young Izuna never looked weak. That's all I can do now. He fulfilled his brother's dying wish. The Uchiha obtained eternal light, and fought his former friend. He lost, not just in battle, but in his mind, as well. The Senju was stronger than him. He had truly lost, and the red-eyed man gave their dream a chance. It was all he could dream of at first, but the light cast a shadow on him. It grew, and grew until he could no longer bear it. His clan refused his call, exiling him. He was alone. Yet he didn't give in. With his eyes he tamed the most foul beast. Brought it to battle his former friend, the greatest fight he ever fought. Even then he lost, yet he would never give in. With the flesh he stole, and the splices he made, he waited. Waited for a successor to surpass him. Obito, he was just another pawn like everyone else. He remembered dying, and waking up. The fourth great ninja war, they called it. They were all children compared to him. His third attempt would surely bring him the fruit he so desired. To finally end this conflict, this cycle which ate lives, and shattered war. He had no desire to fail, and yet a brat got in his way. Blonde hair, blue eyes, a stupid grin reminding him of Hashirama. It was him. He was the brat. He was the man who lost everything. He was the one who fought to end the war. He was the one who fought to bring peace. To cast the perfect was his dream, or was it to make people truly understand each other? He was Uzumaki Naruto, he was Uchiha Madara, he was. Blue eyes snapped open, and he shot up from his bed. A cold sweat covered his frame, as he gripped his head. Adrenaline rushed in his veins, he felt as if he was going to die. He fell from the bed, and fell face first into the ground. His yell got muffled, as he tasted the dirt. It was bitter and unwanted. Groggily getting up, his body shook. Slowly the rush decreased, rationality sunk in, as he realized could feel everything around him. Dead men don't feel anything. He was dead. He should be dead. As he sat on the bed, he quickly realized the door was opened. It creaked, complaining of its old age. He heard the clanking of metal, footfalls followed, and a person entered. He was white. White skin, it seemed, as if the person had been bleached by it. Green spiky hair on his head. The man didn't wear a shirt, but much to his inner joy he was wearing pants. That put possible rapists out of the question. The person also had a shit-eating grin on his face, as if he were without a care in the world. Naruto-sama, was all he heard before the white living thing hugged him, very tightly. It hurt more than being crushed by boulders. Plus, getting hugged by a shirtless man was not something he wanted. Ever. Period. I'll let go, he choked out, and the white being did just that. However, his anguish increased when he fell onto the floor. Getting up by himself, while refusing the overzealous man's help, he sat, and noticed another person entering the room. This second person was old, ancient even, hair withered white with age, skin wrinkled with time, and one cold, red eye staring at him with some coldness. Madara never looked so. The feeling of danger crept in, and he jumped back. He was ready to fight, regardless of the fatigue he felt. Naruto-sama, what are you doing? White Setsu, he concluded. He should have noticed the being's features better, yet this one seemed different. More lively, less menacing and, dare he say it, almost innocent. Even its eye color was different. Orange eyes stared back at his blue ones. Still, the ghost was still there, and he couldn't let his guard down. Madara, he said, clenching his fist. How did you escape? The old Uchiha said nothing, and slowly walked forward. His cane was a kama, Madara's own personal weapon, forged all those years ago, and yet the metallic sickle was sharp to this day. How do I know that? Madara headed towards a seat, and took his place there. For a moment, the Uchiha said nothing, and kept his eyes closed. I didn't escape. Madara looked at him, a blank expression adorning his face. I remembered my body was breaking down, and then I woke up from a sleep. Here. In this state. What? Stop lying, he said, anger slowly building up. What the fuck are you talking about? How did you escape? The Zetsu clone spoke up. Naruto-sama, what are you on about? Even Madara-sama was acting weird when he woke up. His head snapped towards the semi-organic being. The face held no malice or deception. Hell, it looked like Zetsu was a stupid 5-year-old, with a fully grown body. It seems, the ghost said. We didn't die after all, Uzumaki Naruto. Or do I call you something else? Stop speaking in circles. You're pissing me off. He glared at Madara, and saw his deteriorating chakra. What the heck? Panic began to form in his mind, as his eyes carefully noticed everything around him. The world seemed clearer, sharper, better. He had never seen so clearly with his eyes before. Yet, it seemed familiar, almost instinctual, as if he had done this a million times before. It felt natural, it felt right. Naruto-sama, the Zetsu clone, whined. You and Madara-sama have been acting weird. Ever since you woke up after implanting your grandfather's eyes. No, this wasn't possible. This was a dream, a bad dream. No, it was a nightmare. Yet he couldn't feel the presence of another chakra seeping into his own. This was real, not a false illusion conjured up by some trickster. What have you done? He said. The ghost didn't reply. With inhumane speed, he appeared near the elderly Uchiha, and yanked him by his collar. What have you done? Answer me. Madara's face didn't even flinch before his eyes. The Uchiha was calm, collected, and utterly bored at his threat. The old goat didn't even give a fuck about the killing intent he was letting out. It simply wasn't worth the ghost's time, and he, Naruto, knew it. He too would have felt the same way. The question isn't what I have done, the Uchiha finally said. It's what you have done, Uzumaki Naruto. He let go of the Uchiha, letting the old man sit comfortably on the chair, as he gathered his wits. Kurama, he called out. Kurama, are you there? You better not be fucking pranking me. Kurama. Kurama! He couldn't sense Kurama's presence inside him. Hell, when did he become a censor? And since when was he so good at it? Speaking to the filthy fox are you? Madara's words enraged him. He's not with you. I would have sensed him. Its chakra has this chaotic pulse whenever I'm near. Naruto's red eyes threatened to burst him into flames, but the Uzumaki stopped himself. He needed answers. Madara was the only person who could provide them at the moment. Besides, the Zetsu clone, of course. Where the heck are we? How are you still alive? How am I still alive? I don't know, the man replied. I was sure we would be dead. At least the knowledge of your memories told me that it truly had one inevitable result. This was a problem. Madara saw his memories, and by extension knew everything he did. The crafty old son of a bitch would surely try something. I'm assuming you saw mine, as well. It wasn't a question. Madara continued, tell me, do you still hate me? After seeing everything I've been through, surely you understand how horrid the world is. I'm not having the same old conversation again for the 122nd time, Naruto growled. He was pissed right now, almost as pissed when he saw Orochimaru after 3 years. Too bad, the ghost leaned back. Because I have something to say to you, grandson. Naruto's glare softened out of confusion. Has he lost it? Maybe this is a dream. No, I haven't lost it, Madara said, as if reading his mind. It was freaky. I just know you very well. You don't know me, Naruto countered. Hell, you've barely known me for less than a day. Don't go around spouting bullshit out of that mouth of yours. Uzumaki Naruto, Madara began. Born on October 10th, loathed and feared by all. Parents killed on the day of your birth. The Kyuubi's claw made sure of that. Lived by yourself since the age of 5, you hate the 3 minutes you have to wait for cup ramen to cook. Secretly resented the villagers to the point where you hid it all, choosing to grin and bear it instead of leaving the village. Your chakra control was horrid. You failed the graduation exam 3 times. You were a genin on Team 7, and apprenticed by Jiraiya the Toad Sage. Or should I call him Erosenin? Do I need to go on? Madara knew everything about him. You're right, Naruto said after deactivating his Sharingan. Madara did it at the same time. However, the door opened both ways in this case. But don't think you're the only one in that same boat. Uchiha Madara, the former Jinchuriki said. Born on December 24th, second-born son of Taijima and Rinko. Had 5 brothers, 1 older and 4 younger. Izuna was your favorite sibling. Your father died when you were 16, and your mother passed away when Izuna was born. You awaken your Sharingan shortly before your rift with your best friend, the Shodaime Hokage. Your Mangekyo Sharingan awakened after you killed Miya, a close friend who became obsessed with Izanagi. Hobbies include increasing your fire affinity, falconry, and taking over the world. Inazushi is your favorite food, while you labeled Ro as trash. Oh, and you also couldn't pee for 3 days when you saw Hashirama's face growing on your left nipple, the white Zetsu said. What's going on? Why are you two acting this way? Zetsu Madara was cut off when the white plant-like being shouted. My name is Shiro, not Zetsu, it said. Naruto-sama himself gave me that name. Naruto scratched his head in frustration from all the tension in his body. This situation was so fucked up he couldn't make heads or tails of it. If Kurama was here, he would have had some solid advice. At that moment he realized something. His hair had grown much larger than it was before he activated his suicidal. It came all the way down to his waist. It was spiked with the right amount of smoothness, jet black, as the void itself. Naruto took a fistful of his own hair, and stared at it. My sweet, sexy blonde hair is gone. Why? Shrugging that painful loss aside, he looked at the Zetsu. He seemed stupid, loud, and bold. He was a completely trustworthy person. If not, well, Naruto knew how to use a kunai. Shiro, Naruto said. Zetsu beamed at him. Look, this may sound strange, but my memory's acting a bit hazy. Ever since the implant, my chakras have been affecting my brain. So, could you tell me where this place is? Of course, Naruto-sama. I am your bestest, most trustworthy spy after all. Naruto concluded Shiro was the worst spy of all time. The Zetsu clone coughed into his hand. We are at Mountain's Graveyard, north of the land of rice and waterfalls. You like to call it the secret place, Naruto-sama. Okay. The former blonde nodded to his words, one eye focused on Madara. Now, Shiro. You said something about us acting strange since we woke up, right? Yup, totally. You're acting like complete weirdos. Ignoring the stride, Naruto continued. When did he, pointing at Madara, wake up? Oh. Let's see, about an hour before you. I see. And did he come to visit me? Nope, Madara-sama. And I were playing 20 questions. I simply asked you questions, Madara cut in, and told you to answer me truthfully. And you asked 20 of them? Hence 20 questions. Naruto could feel the headache increasing, and that one word Madara had called him was getting to him. As surreal as this situation was, he did have one theory in mind. It was an advanced space-time physics theory that seemed more like borderline cheesy science fiction, but he needed to confirm it. He needed to hear those words. Shiro. Hi, Naruto-sama? Uchiha Madara, the younger of the 2 men in the room, said. Is my grandfather, isn't he? Yup, The sheer amount of honesty in his reply almost made Naruto puke. Could you leave us for a moment, Shiro? Naruto asked, barely keeping his self-loathing in control. Are you sure, Naruto-sama? You just woke up. Do you want to drink something? No, thank you, he said. Just give me a few moments with grandfather. The white Setsu nodded, and left the room, closing the creaking door very slowly. It was painful to his ears. Once he was sure the humanoid went away, Naruto looked at the elder Uchiha who had closed his eyes. They didn't say anything to each other. Naruto had a faint idea of what Madara was thinking. It felt strange to even know such a thing. The Edo Tensei fragments, the blonde-haired, black-haired teen remembered. His current body seemed as if he was 15, or 16. They latched on to me. All of those particles were looking for a host. Was it due to the nature of the void? Did I fuse with him? Maybe I was then looking for genetic compatibility later? General rules of reality and physics don't apply there. Maybe. This is frustrating. Uchiha Naruto. The two words stung the very core of his being. Naruto stared at the former undead. Has a strange ring to it, doesn't it? You seem to be awfully calm about this whole thing, Naruto gritted out. Even though he knew everything about Madara, to the point where he could be his double, a part of him resented him. I'm calm because there's nothing I can do about it, Madara coolly stated, bringing up a hand to remove his bangs. His right eye was empty, and Uchiha closed it. According to Zetsu, Shiro. Madara stared at him, and Naruto didn't look away. He saw the old man sigh. He probably knew how stubborn Naruto was. According to Shiro, it's been nearly 50 years since I fought with Hashirama. Naruto listened to each of his words, looking for deceit and lies. I didn't die, and I left Hai no Kuni. Haven't been back since. Apparently, I settled down in the land of whirlpools, and moved here after the Second War. Oh no, please God no, Naruto thought with a scowl. His ridiculous theory was making more sense. He didn't like it. No, he was fucking hate it. I married an Uzumaki woman by the name of Harai. Even had 2 children with her, Izuna and Indra. The former Jinchuriki saw the flash of pain in Madara's eyes at the mention of that name. Nobody else would have noticed it, mainly because Naruto knew exactly how the ghost felt. Izuna died in battle, and that affected Indra to the point where he refused to become a shinobi. He settled down with a woman called Narukami Tsukihime. And you learned all this from Shiro? Madara, ever so slightly, nodded. For Naruto this was strange. He had parents. Different parents, but he had them. He had grandparents, for fuck's sake. It was bittersweet. You were their son, Madara's words wrung from his musings. Where was what he heard? They were dead. Your parents were killed 7 years ago. IWA shinobi raiding party. Apparently you avenged them. Those words didn't help. It just angered him more. All his effort in the Fourth War, completely undone. And he was now in an era where bloodshed was the norm. Now then, Madara started after taking a long pause. What are you going to do? Choke me? Slash my throat? Burn my body? Shiro tells me you awakened the Mangekyo at a young age. As if to confirm it, Naruto channeled chakra to his eyes. The red iris and black pupil appeared, 3 tomo encircling it like wolves. They spun faster, until 3 tomo surrounded a 3-bladed pinwheel. His eternal Mangekyo Sharingan gleamed in all its glory. Naruto's chakra flared, cracking the ground on which he stood, and winds picked up around him. They screeched in horror, begging him to stop this display of disturbing power. A cold, unsettling chill began to set in, as a light blue miasma covered his body. Brighter and brighter it grew. That's my chakra, alright, the ghost said. Naruto started to walk towards him. Well then, do it. End it. We both know that's what you want. That was your plan when you used that. Again, Madara was right. Naruto cocked back his fist, and rushed it forward. A sickening crack was heard, as the backrest of the wooden chair turned into broken splinters, along with a hole in the wall. A very large hole. He glared into Madara's eyes with defiance and fury. You're right, Naruto said. I did want to end you, that's what it was for. But if I did that now, after everything I did I'd be spitting on who I am. He walked away. Don't be a fool, boy, Madara chided. Don't let that sentimental side you call morality get the better of you. I'll do what I want, Naruto replied, sitting on the bed. He sighed. Besides, I already tried to kill you before. Doing it to you in this state, it would be a cheap shot. You honestly call yourself a shinobi? The ghost stared at him, incredulously. I've seen your memories, I've seen what you did. Always letting emotions get the better of you. Thinking what's best for others instead of yourself just so everyone accepts you for who you are. You're a fool, Uzumaki, and you're making a mistake right now. Maybe, the former Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi said. But I'll stand by what I decide. My emotions made me who I am. And yeah, I'm a shinobi alright. I follow my own, and I sure as heck am not going to listen to a hypocrite. Watch your tongue, boy. Izuna, Naruto said, ignoring the glare he received. It was unsettling really. He was sure that Madara would have lunged at him, had it not been for his old age. Don't you dare speak his name. I will, he replied. I've seen what you've been through, just like I'm sure you've seen what my life was like. It was much nicer than yours, but it didn't make it better. I've felt, and lived through every moment you had, so believe me, I know your pain. I know you're suffering, but you acted on your emotions, as well. If Izuna never died, you wouldn't have gone down that path. It was inevitable, Madara argued. The stubborn old man, Hashirama, and I, we would have never gotten along. It was only a matter of time before we went our separate ways. I don't think so, the young Uchiha said. Sasuke was a lot like you. His brother died too, after their fight. His entire life goal had been built on a lie, and Itachi wanted him to walk a path that didn't lead him astray. That didn't make him a hollow shell that only looked for vengeance. Naruto took a deep breath. He would have become just like you. Naruto's eyes grew brighter, as he lightly smiled. But he didn't. Even though that sure sway guys I helped, I know that deep down Sasuke would have changed. He was, no, my friend. I trust him that much, and for some reason I feel like you can change too. It's never too late. Your optimism is sickening. Madara spat. He was glaring at Naruto, and the latter didn't care. You did the same with Pain, with Obito, with Sasuke. What makes you think your way will work? Eventually, hatred will take over. In a world filled with winners, there'll be losers, I know, Naruto cut in, a bit annoyed. Listen to me, this could be your only chance. If I'm right about this place, then maybe you should just rethink your position. Speak clearly. Even though I received your memories, I didn't receive all your knowledge. That includes yours, as well. No way. He's gotta be kidding, unless Naruto hid the grin on his face. Oh man, I gotta buy something for Ino-chan. She wasn't kidding when she said my mind was developing natural barriers with her help. And oh right. Fuck. How many years till she would be born again? Well, I'm glad Naruto didn't bother to lie. But if I'm right, and this is a wild guess, we're going by multiverse theory. A different world? Madara asked. You know what I'm talking about. I know how Jakuken works. An alternate dimension doesn't seem far off considering how the infinite Tsukuyomi works. But you already know that. Naruto didn't hide his grin this time, even though a part of him was torn to be honest. He had prepared, and used them, ready to die. For his precious ones, for his ideals, for peace. To him, it seemed like cheating death. Yeah, but it seems I suffered from some losses along the way, Naruto said looking at his hands. He heard the Uchiha scoff. The old goat was smirking too. You have my chakra, Madara declared, almost proudly. You have my memories, all of them. I saw you activate the Mangekyo, so you must also know all my techniques. The sheer size of your chakra capacity is so large, it's ridiculous. And you claim that you suffered from losses? Trust me, Naruto shook his head. I did lose things. I lost my friends, I lost my life, I lost Kurama. Hell, I'm not even myself in this stupid world, whereas you're still your broody, grumpy self. I'm just this person who's your genetic grandson, and I can't even remember a single memory this guy has. It was unfair. Madara got off easy compared to him. Naruto couldn't even remember what life this guy had. He just had to be wearing the skin of someone who was named Naruto, and was an Uchiha. Sasuke would be laughing at him right now. Multiverse theory was a bitch. So, what will you do now? What would he do now indeed? He didn't have a purpose anymore. I don't know, he replied. You could have lied. There's no point in lying. The world would be a better place if people didn't lie so much to each other. An ideal world, one that'll never be real. Would you shut your trap for 1 second, you geezer? Naruto rubbed his forehead. What the fuck was he supposed to do? Can't you just do this again? Oh wow. Why didn't I think of that? Naruto asked, with mock joy. I mean, it's not like I know what'll happen the next time I pull it off. Maybe I'll even end up back at home, or another different, fucking universe. I mean, why not? Hell, why not just kill myself? Madara sighed at his loud voice. Somehow he saw that coming, and he didn't need a Sharingan for that. You're serious about not killing me? Yeah, Naruto replied tiredly. Besides, as much as I hate to accept it, this is reality now. My reality? As much as I want to deny it. We're related by blood, deal with it. Madara didn't reply, opting to stay silent. I'm wondering what I did wrong to deserve this. To have a clown like you for a grandson, even if it is in a different dimension. It's sickening. Naruto couldn't help but chuckle at his words. Madara did have a sense of humor. Don't think I'll forgive you for what you did to Tsunade. You're lucky she's alive. Otherwise you'd be shitting yourself right now. Your woman? He asked. Okay, he didn't expect to hear that. Well yeah. I mean kinda. I don't know. Naruto sighed, and lied down. Not even caring about Madara's presence. There was nothing the ghost could do. He heard the sound of the makeshift cane hitting the ground again. Where do you think you're going? My room, came the reply. Madara stopped. Without purpose, boy, your life has no meaning. I could say the same for yours, Naruto said. You saw my memories, right? Yes. Then you also saw the last conversation I had with Yoel, Black Zetsu. Madara didn't answer, and Naruto knew what his silence meant. He got up again. Look, I'm not going to spit on you for what you did. You lost your brother, you lost your way. I understand that. But knowing that ultimately you were a pawn yourself, are you still going to pursue your dream? The infinite Tsukuyomi? Madara began to walk away, and Naruto threw his hands in the air. He kept infusing chakra to know where he was moving about. Nothing wrong with keeping an eye on him. Naruto sighed again. He didn't know what to do. Closing the door, Naruto made a few hand seals, and mentally thanked the Yamanaka heiress for helping him set up the barriers in his mind. He slammed his hands into the ground, as seals emerged. They spread around the room before disappearing. What do I do now? Why was he alive? What purpose did he have? Was he a savior or a pawn? Nothing made sense. He was right when he saw enemies in every dancing shadow. This world was a cruel place, one that made him who he was. There were moments he had doubts, but his will never wavered. Madara was set to achieve his goals, to bring two opposing forces to create the ideal world. Black Zetsu, the Uchiha, thought with venom. He was never his will. The black creature was Kagaya's all along. The entire tablet must have been a sham. All he did in life was on the strings of another making him dance. The Uchiha had never doubted himself this much, though that was mostly due to the memories. Uzumaki Naruto was an idiot. He was treated like every other Jinchuriki was, like a piece of shit. Yet that boy craved acknowledgement, not through power, but respect. His birth itself was a tragedy in the making, something due to Madara's machinations. When Madara woke up, he had expected to be in hell. Waking up in a comfy chair where a white Zetsu was eagerly looking at him like a child was not the picture he had in mind. Of course, now he was having a harder time. The memories they returned. Not just Naruto's, but of himself. Of this world. The one who took his loss to Hashirama in a cathartic way. This version of himself didn't even awaken the Rinnegan, despite stealing Hashirama's cells. Madara, his other self, his current self, settled down. Had a wife, children, and a family. It scared him. The notion of having a family, and the loss he suffered upon waking up. The fear of losing it again. Years of training, and coping with grief kept his emotions in check. It was never easy, dealing with the loss of a loved one. And this Madara, this stupid, peaceful Madara loved his family. The ghost of the Uchiha slept quickly. He ignored the pangs he felt in his heart. It was too late for him. I've seen what you've been through, just like I'm sure you've seen what my life was like. It was much nicer than yours, but it didn't make it better. I've felt and lived through every moment you had, so believe me, I know your pain. I know your suffering, but you acted on your emotions as well. If Izuna never died, you wouldn't have gone down that path. No. It was fake. Those were Naruto's ideals, not his. He wasn't this world's Madara. And for some reason I feel like you can change too. It's never too late. You're wrong, Madara said, trying to remove that cheerful phantom of hope from his mind. He didn't like to lose. Now he learned he was set to fail since he read the tablet. His entire existence and goal was a lie. Who was he joking about? Black Zetsu played him, on Kagaya's orders. Listen to me, this could be your only chance. If I'm right about this place, then maybe you should just rethink your position. For the first time in what he felt was a century, Madara let out a tear. One single tear forcefully made it out of his eyes. It was too much for him. The content life this Madara had. The amount of damning hope Naruto had to redeem him. He could only take so much in his old age. So, Shiro? Hi, Naruto-sama. How old are you again? Let's see. The white Zetsu counted on his fingers. I'm 6 years old. I see. Okay. Did you ever remember seeing a large freaky statue here before? How freaky? 'Cause I remember this weird thing your parents owned. Of course I never saw them in person. What was it? Let's see. Right, it looked like a leather blindfold. It was black, and there was a red ball in front. Naruto groaned. Uchiha Naruto's parents were people with strange sexual preferences. He didn't judge, but BDSM was where he drew the line. It was why he refused Anko's advances. That woman had a rocking body, but a sick mind. No, that's not what I was talking about. And never mention that again. He saw Shiro nodding. So you're sure you didn't see anything like a large statue? Closed 10 eyes? Big hands with chains? Nope, it said. But there was this one time you made me go look for something. Oh, what was it? Naruto asked, curious about what his other self was looking for. Even his genes were messed up. At least he had his own chakra, and Madara's, and Naruto's. It was unfair, even to himself. Some scrolls from the Whirlpool place. Where are they right now? In your room, though I can't seem to enter. Sorry about that, Naruto decided to be honest, checking to see if there was a human face on my chest. Oh, you mean that Hashi guy? Yeah, him. Despite the severe situation, Naruto let curiosity get the better of him. Can I ask you something else, Shiro? Of course, Naruto-sama. I was made to serve you. That sounded wrong, something Naruto would fix later. Were me and Madara close? You and Madara-sama are pretty close, especially since your parents died, Shiro excitedly said. In fact, when I was born Madara-sama was always busy training you, saying that you needed it to survive. He's proud of you. It was strange to hear those words, to have a blood relative with someone who was basically responsible for nearly all the terrible things that happened to the leaf. But it wasn't his world's Madara. But now it was. I need a drink for this. Was I really? Naruto knew Madara had entered the main room before. The old goat was pretty silent despite that large kama he carried with him. Shiro, leave us. Without a single word, the white setsu dissolved into the ground. Naruto didn't say anything, only letting the silence stay up. Without purpose, your life has no meaning, Madara said, walking forwards. My father told me that a long time ago. I know. Without power, nothing can be gained. Nothing can be protected, and everything can be taken from you. I had it, Madara said, walking further away from him. Power, unimaginable power. Something you couldn't even comprehend. Yet I lost to a brat with a few fancy seals. Naruto was a bit offended at that comment. His seals were anything but fancy. The former blonde had half a mind to chuck a kunai at him. Time, and again I kept losing. To Hashirama, to Black Zetsu, to you. In the end, I was the loser. You're not just a loser, Naruto said, getting up from the couch. He went forward to stand beside the ghost. You were being a whiny bitch about it. That's the only time I'll let this slide. What? I lost. You and Hashirama win. What fucking drugs are you on? Madara chuckled. Naruto was officially terrified now. I admit my defeat. My way didn't work. Madara's face looked bittersweet, as if he tasted a lemon. And I'm dying. Apparently, I never awakened the Rinnegan here. It's useless. I have no purpose. Naruto didn't know what to say, since he was suffering from the same dilemma. But Madara said, I'll see if another way works. What? I'm saying, my way didn't work. Madara explained further. I've already used the Izanagi to stay alive in this world. For far too long. Hey, listen to you, old coot. What are you on about? I'm saying that I'll help you. I suspect I won't live for too long. The Uchiha looked at his hand. And I want to leave behind a legacy. One that might reach a different outcome from mine. You're serious? Naruto couldn't believe what the Uchiha was saying. Madara was just as stubborn as him. Believe it. Okay, that one hurt. Your training starts from tomorrow, Madara said before walking away. Don't disappoint me. Why are you doing this? Because, Madara paused. I feel like taking a leap of faith in my old age. He couldn't say a word after that. Did he trust Madara? He didn't know. Has the ghost truly given up? He wasn't sure. Madara believed in him? Naruto was confused, unsure how to reply. But there was one thing he could say. So you finally saw the flaws in your way? Madara kept walking away. Well? He was still walking. Well, at least you weren't a virgin in this world. Naruto was honestly getting tired of getting zero fucks. So were you, and Hashirama gay? Your first kiss was with a boy when you were 12. Fuck you. Light faded, dark descended, night fell. Slowly it stretched over the sky, an utter blackness mercilessly painting every corner of the heavens. The whispering woods froze in stark silence. The auburn taints of the setting sun disappeared. Only dark remained. Opaque clouds followed suit, shrouding the full moon with its endless veils. With the howling winds they twisted, danced, and shimmied. Once in a while they let pale moonlight wink through them, and ushered in small specks to shine on what little ground it could, breadcrumbs to a path concealed. Myriad small creatures came out of wooden shelters. The endless trees were trusty houses that kept them safe. Their homes had braved storms, outstand floods, and bested winter since it was created. Yet now, the children of this forest yelled, and shrieked in horror, cried in fear, and ran with desperation. Tiny luminous dots, akin to stars studded to the ground, guided them. It showed them a way out, to escape the spreading abyss that devoured their home whole. He saw through the darkness clearly. A great portion of his life was spent here, loitering in the shadows, witnessing how the world failed to provide him a true answer. It was homely, this feeling of stillness. Watching the creatures run away made his red eyes narrow. A voice in his heart murmured, any human would do the same. His heart spoke true. The dark was, to them, the root of all things cruel, calamitous, and cursed. He knew better. Deep within the confines of the womb, a child was conceived. Slowly, the child would grow in size and strength, healthier and better. A lovely thought, nothing more beautiful than a new life in bloom. Yet more than often people overlook a simple fact. The babes so protected by the flesh of their mothers from all the things outside that could harm them rested not in a place of light, but of dark. For months they would stay there, warm, and homely, and safe. When the time came to leave their homes, their true birthplace, the children would voice their refusal. The light was so vicious. Upon first sight they would be blinded by it. Every newborn would cry, wail, and plead to go back to its home, where all the worries of the world couldn't reach them, where the light could never touch them. Sooner than they knew, the child would grow, getting more accustomed to it, to the fancy delights it had, the sentimental candy floss, all the joys of life. They lived in the light, but the dark still lingered. Those who acknowledged their darkness eventually found a healthy balance, some more than others. Only fools in their blind folly believed in the light, and all the false promises it brought. He sat in the pasture with his trusty cane, drinking in the silence. Never had the calm before the storm tasted so sweet, for he knew, all good things must come to an end. Just as darkness fell, he knew a new light would appear. An endless paradox this cycle was. A pillar rose, shining in the darkness. Red, orange, and yellow flames flew higher and higher. Spiraling and circling, they raced each other to see which was mightier. Then it exploded without warning. Great spheres of fire formed, hovering in the air, and then it all rained down, crushing and destroying everything they touched. It danced wildly on barren grounds. Flames forged in hell sniffed out the prey, rabid hounds. They wanted to hunt, eradicate, and leave behind nothing alive in their journey. Trees melted, wood smoldered into sludge. Leaves burned, and turned into forgotten ashes. The ground scorched, soft earth faded to black. Cinders flew, dying embers of the forest slowly disappearing. Twigs snapped, leaves sizzled, and trees fell. Their screams reached his ears. They were of the pain and anguish the forest suffered. Just as the dark had come, the light fought back. Now the world around them was a bright shade of searing gold, as if the sun had been scavenged out of the sinking horizon's deep, murky waters to bring back a glimmering hope, and embossed into the sky. The impact of this had caused this, a destructive sight, most would agree. Even the hardest of men, with ice in their veins, would worry after witnessing this field of fire. To Madara, however, this was downright insulting. Theatricality no doubt played into deception. Shinobi talked smack, and flashed fancy to intimidate their opponents. This was just distracting, and begged for attention. He might as well go to IWA, yell "fuck the hidden stone," and be done with it. Maybe Inoki wouldn't mind. The fence-sitter knew how to gobble shit. Display aside, they came up short. For one, the smoke from the burning residue was thin. It should have made him keel over, and gag like a whore with 3 throbbing cocks shoved down her throat. The fallout didn't exist at all. Soot was imperative to the after effect. Compared to this bonfire, Madara could show what hell on earth looked like with less time. Madara-sama, Shiro emerged from the ground beside him. The storm will start soon. True to his words, the dark clouds were glittering gold. White wisps of lightning flashed in the skies, thunder followed. I noticed, he replied, and slowly took his time to get up. His old hip betrayed him with every passing day. Fingers trembled despite his strong grip. At last he stood, proud, and tall, and in pain. He didn't voice it, but Uchiha never showed their weaknesses. When they did, a lot of people died. Perhaps karma wanted to play a joke. He did look down on Inoki for his old age. Are you alright? I'm fine, Madara lied. Red eyes glanced around the area. Has anyone noticed? Nope, the white setsu cheered. The seals are holding up just fine, Madara-sama. Naruto-sama is so good at them I think he might be the bestest, most greatest, fantasticast. Call him back, Madara ordered. He was not in the mood for hearing one of Shiro's absurdly long praise sessions. I don't want the idiot doing something stupider when it starts. Will do. The Uchiha regretted his decision almost immediately. Naruto-sama, perhaps this is all a nightmare, he still often told himself. Even now, after more than a year had passed since the incident, Uchiha Madara still felt this was an illusion. His other self's life certainly didn't agree. The dreams had finally stopped 6 months ago. They were too much to bear at times, especially at his age. More lightning crackled, more thunder boomed, and his patience drew to a close. I'll be going inside. Tell the fool. Tell me what? Madara turned around. That you're going to cause more disturbances in the storm. The young man before laughed off the jape. Seeing an Uchiha laugh so casually was still a wonder to him. His clan wasn't uptight, as the rest of the world saw them. They were more pragmatic. Uchiha in general had a low tolerance for bullshit, and idiocy, and stupidity, all three abundant in the person before him. It was like staring into a mirror, an inferior cheaply made mirror. The man of dark raven hair, unruly and wild, was tied into a high ponytail. Apparently the boy didn't appreciate his hair getting dirty. Madara's hair was often filled with grime and blood, that's why it stayed so silky. He wore clothes befitting an Uchiha, and certainly looked the part. Sadly, he could not say the same for his grandson's behavior. Calm down already, the boy waved him off. No need to get so worried about me. I wasn't worried, Madara explained. You staying out here in a storm would give me a headache. He started walking back towards the cave. The secret path was short, and blocks of earth rose from the ground, as seals appeared around them. Glancing to his right, he saw the blue-eyed Uchiha already with his hand seals. He's gotten faster. Walking down the stairs with the two of them, the gate closed behind them. The torches below were lit, and the journey was silent, for the first 35 seconds. So, the young Uchiha drew the word out. What did you think? It was pretty awesome, right? In terms of consuming chakra, and acting like a beacon for your enemies, then yes. Madara heard him grumble. I do not doubt the power of the main hassle lies in executing it. Enemies aren't going to give you 15 seconds to plan it out. Flashy will take you so far. Shinobi should be swift and subtle. That's rich coming from a guy who basically conjures up a mountain-sized ghost samurai. He whined. Subtle my. It's called a battle avatar. Half-wit, Madara shot back, his voice still calm. He didn't want to be lectured by a boy on subtlety. Susanoo was meant to make his enemies soil their pants. You had one before, still have one, and you can't even get the term right. Naruto was an idiot. Perhaps a bigger idiot than Hashirama. Something he never thought possible. The only saving grace in all this was that Naruto was not a senju. Had he been, Madara shuddered at the thought. The Uchiha sent out his prayers to whatever being that was out there to avoid such a tragedy. The boy was blabbering again. And that's why it works. Naruto Uchiha finished. His grandson was strange. Brash, loud, honest to a fault. All the qualities Madara despised in a shinobi. Yet, the former Uzumaki had dashed all his thoughts, all the pictures he had regarding what a ninja should be. How many former enemies had he turned to his side with that silver tongue of his? Maybe, Naruto scratched his chin. Maybe you're just jealous. I mean, the first Hokage had a massive wooden Buddha with 1,000 arms. Does your Susanoo have 1,000 arms? Madara stopped in his tracks. Dark eyes grew cold. Hashirama had Mokutan. Do you know what it was like fighting him? Naruto smiled. Actually, I do. Good, then you know how much he made the environment play to his strengths. Entire fields became death traps, forests that breathed poison, wooden dragons sneaked about beneath the earth. Yeah, Naruto's smile didn't fade. Still doesn't change the fact he beat you 2-1. You only got one over him after you got the Rinnegan. No wonder people call him the god of shinobi. Boy, Madara began. The only reason Hashirama is known in every nation is because of me. I pushed his limits, made him reach new levels. If it wasn't for me, Senju Hashirama would be sitting at home, as a nobody with a stupid bowl cut, and an even stupider family. I made him the god of shinobi. His legends exist because he fought me. Without me he would have been just another Senju. Dear log, Naruto sighed. You're still hung up about him becoming Hokage, aren't you? Madara did not dignify that with a response. It wasn't worth the effort. This grandson of his tested his patience more than the entire Senju clan. At least they wanted to kill him. Naruto didn't even harbor hostile intent towards him, going so far as to blindly trusting Madara despite all their history. It was madness, and stupidity. The large boulders before their path resonated, great gray stones parted sideways showing a tunnel. He could hear the storm raging above the ground this far down. Your fire caused that nimbus cloud to form in the coming storm, Madara reasoned. Perhaps the flames were hotter than he deemed. Hell yeah, the brat beamed up. You should know better than to underestimate me. Doing that is impossible. Every time you open your mouth you prove you're a hopeless, belligerent fool. Yeah, well, he paused. At least I don't throw world-enslaving tantrums. Both were striding towards the main hall beneath Mountain Graveyard, Madara's home for the last 50 years, give or take. The mountain itself was ravenous to scale, then came the unnatural biting cold. It was always colder here. Perhaps this place was cursed, just like his fate. Do you want some soup? It was habitual at this point, Naruto asking him what he'd like to eat especially in this weather. Rain and wind hammered their home from all sides. The echoes of the storm reached deep within, and he enjoyed this, the sounds that came. Madara had a fondness for the rain. As a child he found it hopeful. The rains from above came down, and washed away the blood that soaked the lands. Are you going to make some regardless of my answer? Naruto nodded. Then yes. See you in a bit. He cheerfully walked away, and Madara stared at his retreating back. The Uchiha went back to his own room, and rested on the seat. His bones were getting older. Had it not been for the Sharingan he would have gone blind perhaps. His room used to be dimly lit with fewer candles and torches. Naruto insisted on more lighting since he didn't want this place to be dark, and gloomy. He didn't have to wait too long. Naruto came in with 2 cups, the Zetsu followed with a cup of his own. Madara took the mug, and the smell of pork, broth, and other delectable vegetables all cooked well. Naruto had limited skills in the kitchen, but for a man who lived alone it was enough. Thinly sliced pieces of pork were savory and crisp, the miso seasoning complemented it. When he was almost done, Madara stopped. Naruto and Shiro were talking about what the Zetsu had seen recently. Being a spy was the main reason it existed. He often wondered what this Madara achieved by stealing Hashirama's flesh. Yes, he had Mokuton, albeit weaker, but outside of that he saw no gains. The Rinnegan wasn't awakened by this one. The stone tablet was tampered with here too. Does this mean Black Zetsu exists here, as well? What are you thinking about? Naruto asked him, done with his own share. Madara finished his own cup, and placed it on the desk beside him. The past, Madara said, the present, the future. You're sure you never found Black Zetsu here? Not a trace, Naruto replied, even though he seemed bitter. Shiro's been searching for him for a long time. He's not getting in here though. I made sure of it. He remained quiet for a while before he felt a rising pain in his chest. He coughed, and cursed in his mind. He felt weak. This shear in his heart reminded him of Hashirama's death blow. Both were excruciating. A warm feeling began to spread through him. Naruto's hands were near his chest, glowing pale green, healing him. The pang lessened further before disappearing. Madara nodded, heavy breaths now calmer and shorter. You're getting worse with each day, Naruto said. What genius observation skills you have. And snarkier, he continued, his brows furrowed with concern. It was amusing to watch. We should really get someone to check you out. If this keeps up, I'll be fine, as I've always been, Madara cut him off. I didn't survive wars to die at the hands of some common disease. Thrice he died. Not many men could claim that. First was when he buried Izuna, the last member of his family, becoming truly alone. The second time came when Hashirama stabbed him during their battle. The last one, he severed his connection from the ghetto statue. It had left a bad taste in his mouth. He was Uchiha Madara, a warrior. Dying of old age seemed so foreign to him. He never expected to live this long either. Look, old man, Naruto spoke, bringing him back to the room. I know you think you're going to get better, but I don't share that thought. Besides, you're pretty damn stubborn. And you're not? Touché, Naruto shrugged. I used to think that way too. Then someone much wiser than me gave me the best advice of my life. Who? Uchiha Itachi, Naruto smiled. Madara's only memories of Naruto went as far as the former's death. Right up to the point where Itachi made his grandson swallow a crow whole. The blonde girl had fortified his mind well. Madara knew about Naruto's life till his fight with Pain. Everything afterwards was hazy, and came in bits and pieces. And what advice did that kin-slaying weasel give you? Naruto frowned, but let the matter drop. He told me to forgive myself for things I can't do alone. I can't control everything, and be everywhere at the same time. He said if want to know me, the real me, I need to accept the fact that I can't do everything alone. That's what friends, comrades, and loved ones are for. They fill those gaps. He paused, clenching his fist. Itachi said he failed with himself in that regard, and he'd been deceiving himself ever since. I'm surprised you remembered a lesson like that. Naruto laughed a bit. And you want me to do what? Accept that I'm old? That I'm weak? That I've been wrung from my reality, placed into this vessel who looks, thinks, and almost lived the same life as mine? I've already accepted that fact. No, Naruto came forward. I need you to let me help you. I'm fine, boy. Madara wanted to look away from the damned honesty in his eyes. Geez, old man. Why do you have to be such a pain in the ass? Madara scoffed at the crude term. You think I wanted this? I had a goal in my life, peace. Later, I found out that Black Zetsu was never my will to begin with. My entire dream was built on a lie. The memory of the other Zetsu turning traitor was vivid. It was cruel to watch. I'm Uchiha Madara. Nothing will ever change that. He didn't bother hiding the venom in his voice. It doesn't have to be that way. Spare me your pity, Madara continued. The storm outside bellowed louder. Successive waves of rain battered the mountain. Winds thrashed wildly against the walls, like whips scarring flesh. Then why are you helping me? Naruto asked. His voice grew louder, as his eyes shone a wicked red. You could have left me to my own devices, or poisoned me. You had a lot of chances, but you didn't. Why? Do you remember what I told you? Madara began. There was a small pain in his arm, nothing too great though. Without purpose life has no meaning. I have none. Killing you has no merit. Okay. Why'd you help me with my training? The boy continued. I have your memories, your knowledge, and know every damn thing that you do. The only reason I helped you is because you carry my blood, the ghost clarified. Any other person would do the same for their own. Madara felt a hand on his shoulder. The grip was gentle. Stop lying to yourself, Naruto smiled sadly. I can't argue with you anymore, old man. I'm tired. That made the two of us. Madara removed his hand. You don't need to worry about me, boy. I know, but I can't help it. The Uchiha ignored the wistful tone. This sounds weird, but I really don't want you to get sick or something. You're kinda the only person I have left from you now. The white Setsu looked confused. Madara understood his words. He too shared that silly sentiment. Madara sighed. The storm outside was finally showing signs of stopping. Do you know why shinobi are told to keep their emotions in check? So the mission does not get compromised. And there's a good reason why those who are close are rarely put into the same regiment. Madara continued. Love is the death of duty. One of the first things we were taught. Then there's you, a complete mockery of that saying. And Naruto scowled. The boy was not amused, Madara was. You don't have to be an ass about it. A boy who spouts his ideals loudly, lets his emotions get the better of him, and makes sure your decision stays on top. Everyone else's opinions be damned. The Uchiha saw the boy smirking. He was proud. You're worse than Hashirama. Man, Naruto rubbed his nose, blue eyes shone with mischief. You know you love me. I'm tired. Get out now, Madara said. He wasn't feeling that well. Every passing day he found himself sleeping in more. Let me help you. The old ghost didn't refuse, and let him guide him to his bed. You're getting frighlier every day. I noticed, Madara replied, and slowly got into bed. The damned pillows were softer now. There was a slight chill in the air. Naruto wisely pulled up his sheets for him. The boy bid him good night, and was leaving. Madara wasn't done. Wait, yeah? Naruto came back, and looked curious. Madara looked at the boy with some pride. He had trained him after all. Do you need to take a shit? Madara was no longer proud. Boy, he breathed in. His chest felt lighter. What do you intend to do? What? He sighed. Naruto was dense, so dense that Madara was sure that light bends around him. You're going to have a life outside this mountain. I'm sure taking care of an old man was not on your list. I don't mind really, Naruto grinned. It's a heck of an experience. The best part about all this is you don't wear a diaper. 'Cause if you did, oh boy. I'm trying to have a serious conversation. I am serious, the boy relented. You don't know how ugly things get beneath those white shitguard pants. Babies are one thing, but elderly people with their wrinkly asses and… Moving on, Madara cut him off. He did not want such an image in his mind. What do you intend to do? Go back to the leaf? Eventually, Naruto admitted. He sat on the bed. The boy had gotten taller again. It is home. The boy's affectionate tone was not lost on him, reminded him of simpler times. Is being Hokage that important to you? Madara asked. He had to fix the boy's mind, and set him on a straight path. Not the path Madara chose, not the path Hashirama chose, but a path of his own. Free from all the shackles their age had cuffed on countless people. Being the Hokage is all I've ever wanted to be, Naruto said. His eyes were staring off into a different time, a different world. It's been the one thing I've always wanted to be. The goal is admirable, the thought choked him. Perhaps Naruto's own views had softened his, but not swayed them. I can understand why you would want to be Hokage. Adoration, acknowledgement, acclamation, things we all strive for. Yeah, I didn't know what it was like until I beat Pain. Of course, you already know that. Yes, then what? Pardon? Let's say you become Hokage, here, Madara pointed out. The boy nodded. Then what? You stay stuck behind a desk, signing papers, assigning missions, keeping the peace. I believe that's the gist of it. Well, yeah, Naruto said after some time. Then what? The Uchiha continued. You become Hokage. Now you get to wear the silly hat. Now what's your purpose? To keep all the villagers safe and… Madara laughed. How many years had it been since he laughed out of sheer amusement? You can do that without becoming Hokage. Your master, Jiraiya, did that. The boy did not reply. He was searching for answers. Before you start, I want to ask you something. Can you give an honest answer? Duh, came the intelligent reply. Hit me with your best shot. Madara sighed. What would you do if your precious Hokage told you to go kill your mother? The only sound in the room came from Zetsu, who gasped, and the rain, finally dying, letting the vestiges of its final drops leave a lasting impression. What if he commanded you to bring your father's head? Told you to slaughter innocent children because of their parents' sins? Or assigned you to murder your own offspring for the village? The ghost sunk into the bed. Now, imagine yourself giving that order to someone to do the same. The boy spoke no further. You're trying to mess with me. If I wanted to manipulate you, I would have started a long time ago. You're not as smart as you think, he explained. You're a grown man, a strong one too. The strongest are left with the greatest burdens because they can bear it. Look no further than Itachi. Duty and loyalty is good, no doubt. Just make sure it doesn't kill what's important to you. Go to sleep, old man. Naruto got up. We'll talk later tomorrow. The footfalls were long, and heavy in the eerie silence. Madara, however, was not done. Don't make the same mistakes Itachi did, boy. The ghost counseled him. He paused for a moment, as Naruto stood at the gate. Don't make the mistakes I did either. I'm not you. No, you're not, Madara agreed. You're Uchiha Naruto. The door closed, and Madara saw Shiro rise up from the ground. The white Setsu looked afraid. Are you two going to argue again, Madara-sama? The thing asked timidly. No, I'm tired of arguing with him. Hopefully it will be his last one. Go on. The white Setsu nodded, and bid him good night before melting into the ground. Madara shuffled around in his bed, choosing to lie on his right side. Sleep came quickly, as he began to yawn. Eyelids grew heavy with fatigue, and it got darker. I do hope that foolish boy comes to his senses quick enough. Righteous people are always the first to die. Madara thought about the boy, the emotions of the Madara who had a family, and loved them played into it, as well. He cared about the boy, much more than he should have. The still feeling settled in, the one right before he fell asleep, and Madara allowed the darkness to take him. Pay attention, brother. The ground beneath his feet disappeared. He felt himself clashing with the earth. Getting up, he heard his brother's chortle. He's getting cocky. Well, this is a sight to behold. You got lucky, he replied, hiding the pride in his voice. Izuna had come a long way. Sure, Izuna offered him a hand, and Madara took it. The training grounds of the Uchiha clan were always a pleasant view. Green lands littered with shuriken. You seemed distracted. Care to tell me why? I remembered a dream. A dream? Izuna's chuckle was not lost on him. His brother had always been more loquacious than him. The last time you had won, I nearly died. Do be careful, brother. I don't want to send you taking your head. It will be a cold day in hell before that happens. Tobirama could. He didn't bother hiding the scowl. Tobirama, the prick. The senju had a holier-than-thou air about him. Every time he saw him, Madara felt the urge to burn something, preferably him. I heard his technique makes him too fast to be seen, even with our Sharingan. Flying Thunder God, he calls it. He might just catch you off guard. That's his usual MO. Flying idiot is what he should call it, Madara said. Tobirama on his best day couldn't be the dirt on my shoe. I wonder if he truly is Hashirama's brother. Yes, that made more sense. Perhaps Senju Butsuma had strolled into a whorehouse after a bloody day, giving into the temptations of the flesh, and sired a bastard. Annoying, as Hashirama was, he didn't put himself on a high pedestal, courtesy of his own stupidity. The white-haired Senju, on the other hand, probably couldn't go a day without someone praising him. Oh, Senju-sama. Wow. So cool. Such speed. Much water. He decided there, and then, the next time he would see Tobirama, Madara would declare him a bastard, and cause a rift between the brothers. Well, if he isn't, shame on them, Izuna. And Madara walked before sitting down on the ground. Each brother took a flagon of water, and relished in the drink. Summers were hot, yet the sun was merciful today, not glaring down upon the lesser ants which roamed the world. So, that dream of yours, spill it. Madara chuckled a bit. It was strange. How so? As I grew old, Madara took another swing. His throat felt drier than usual. Even had a family, a wife, 2 sons, and a grandson. Can you imagine that? Doesn't seem far-fetched, his brother shrugged. Didn't you ever think of having one? Madara remained quiet. Look, Izuna followed his sight. Butterflies, black, and yellow, and red, all danced together in the air. Then another one came, bright blue its wings were, and seemed the most excitable among them. I never saw a blue one before. I saw a few once. Izuna got up, as the small winged creatures flew further, and further away. Did you like it? Your dreamy family? They were family, Madara said. Cold eyes looked up at the bright blue skies. White clouds drifted slowly. It was perfect. You didn't answer my question. I suppose I did, he admitted. The grandson needed work. Stupid, bold, and impulsive, the boy was annoying. What was his name? Izuna asked. Naruto. Well, at least his name wasn't Tobirama. Madara retched at the thought. Who in their right minds would name their children with that burden? Only baseborn were deserving of that name, the runt of the litter. I suppose you're right. Well, let's go then. Izuna started walking. Father, and the others are waiting for you. Where are they right now? Madara asked, seemingly forgetting where he was supposed to go. It was a strange feeling. Uchiha Izuna, his younger brother, smiled. Home. Sweat poured down his frame, as he dug out earth. Using a would have been easier, but that was not his way. Had someone told him that he would wake up to find Madara dead in his sleep, he would have laughed. This, however, was no joke. Last night's words were still fresh in his mind. He had several arguments with Madara before, last night ones while lighter did eat up his sleep. Guilt gripped him, as well. I should have known something was up. He jumped out of the grave. The experience was strange to him. This was the first time he'd done this, and the person he would be burying was a former enemy, with whom he shared blood no less. Naruto didn't know how he felt about this whole damn thing. A part of him was sad, yet another part wasn't surprised. One thing was sure, he didn't want the old man to die. Now, he was alone. Madara's old memories amplified this hollow sensation. While he couldn't say he dearly loved the man despite their ties, he didn't hate him either. Madara had done enough to help him with his training, despite not needing to. Counseled him wisely, pointed out his flaws, and everything one could do for their grandson. Or so Naruto thought. He never had one before. Naruto-sama, Shiro said, he's ready. The clones were done wrapping Madara's body with clean white clothes. Zetsu was misty-eyed, and had loudly cried when he saw Madara not waking up anymore. Naruto walked to the corpse now garbed in white. The old skin wrinkled further, his body rigid as stone, and a peaceful look on his face. He looked content, just as Neji did. He picked up the frail body, placing it into the coffin, and sliding it shut. He carried the coffin towards the grave. The small walk seemed longer than he thought. Gently, he buried it into the ground. Blue eyes turned red, as he seared the image into his mind. This was the one inevitable fate Madara had told him about, death. Shovel in hand he started heaping pounds of earth onto the white coffin, staining it brown. What would you do if your precious Hokage told you to bring your mother's head? The words bothered him still. It piled up soon, and using the flat side, he molded the earth into a more suited shape. There were 4 other graves beside it. Naruto buried Madara next to his wife, Uzumaki Hirai. Next to her were her sons, Izuna and Indra, along with the latter's wife Narukami Tsukihime, Uchiha Naruto's parents. From the diaries Uchiha Naruto kept, he learned a great deal about his parents. Gentle and kind, strong and witty, Indra was considered a disappointment to his father's legacy. Watching his older brother drowning in hatred, blood, and combat, which led to Izuna's death, molded him into a pacifist. His mother, Tsukihime, came from Getsugekure, a soft-spoken woman with a weak body. Birthing her only son had taken a great deal out of her. Then, IWA scouts found them. Thinking his father to be an Uchiha spy placed in foreign lands, they killed the couple, with young Naruto witnessing it, and awakened the Mangekyo. He dreamed sometimes of a life where he did not speak without purpose, did not smile as much, and always strived for power. Uchiha Naruto was a broken child, one who played with shuriken and swords in the shadows. His only purpose was to grow stronger, to spit back in the face of the world, and all those who came for his happiness. Naruto simply accepted he was both. He was Uzumaki Naruto, the man who banded all the nations together. He was Uchiha Naruto who, so tainted by hatred, sought strength for his own happiness. Was it a crime to be selfish? To be happy? The reborn Uchiha had found those words time and time again in the little black book. Naruto-sama, Shiro paused, struggling to find the right words. Will you be leaving? He sighed, and ruffled the Zetsu's green hair who was sitting with a somber look. Innocent, as a child this one was. Reminds him of Konohamaru when the brat was younger. In a few days. What will I do till then? Zetsu asked with determination. Do I go and kill some shinobi? Get some reinforcements? Build an army? Start a nation and none of that. Naruto sat down beside him. I want you to keep this place safe, and look for Black Zetsu when you can. I never found anyone like this guy. The plant being continued. Even in the hidden rain, Shiro's stealth was terrifying. This being raped the very definition of privacy. Still keeping an eye out, Naruto insisted on looking at the graves. One day he too would be 6 feet under. Only his deeds and legacy would remain. He had none, not here at least. Staying away from the leaf was getting to him, and the old man dying had removed the last bit holding him back. I'll be going back to the leaf. Can I come with you? No, Shiro, the white Zetsu pouted. Naruto chuckled a bit. He needed that. I need someone I can trust to keep guard here. Don't want some stupid necromancer coming in here. And besides, I can visit any time I want. Oh yeah. Shiro snapped his fingers in realization. You have that flash thingy. Yes. Naruto got up and stood near Madara's grave. Go and hunt something down, Shiro. We'll be making lunch soon. Shiro did not need to be told twice. He took a bit of the earth in his hand before dropping it on the grave. Like sands of time in an hourglass it fell crumbling. Thank you, Naruto spoke. I never actually said that to you. Always wanted to. But things never go the way anybody wants it to. His hand traced across the grave. Don't worry about me, old man, he said, eyes stung a bit. I'll kinda miss you though. The forests of Land of Fire were considered sacred by some, lauded by others, worshipped by a few. From there a small cult was born. When shinobi of the leaf began using the kawaramiya craze began. Men with wooden chains around their necks, and wooden earrings, and wooden armbands roamed the lands, each of them carrying a log with them, praising its uses, and spreading the rave. Praise the log, they shouted in the face of their foreign enemies, for the log had saved them one time too many. Naruto never cared much for it, until he too saw the light. The log was, for all purposes, the closest thing to a safety insurance a shinobi could ever have. Weapons being thrown at you. Kawarimi. Somebody going to hit you with a Kawarimi. A man garbed in leather about to explore your holiest of holies. Kawarimi. The last one was a bit stretched out, but Jiraiya once told him how his anal virginity had been saved by the log from a man who was far too pretty and touchy. Then again, his old master had been one for bizarre adventures. He still remembered their trip to the land of fangs where he had his first, followed by the others. Finally, he remembered Tsunade. A giggle escaped his lips, as he remembered her bare form. He slapped himself, ridding himself of such thoughts. You're walking through a forest, Naruto. Stop thinking about naked women, he told himself. The woods were menacing to look at. Great trees with twisted branches, and indents that resembled horrific faces glared at him. The first Hokage had supposedly shaped them to instill fear in enemies. Madara told him that Hashirama wanted to try his hand at sculpting. A for effort though. Terrifying shrubbery aside, Konoha was not that far. 5 days Naruto had been traveling, hiding his face with a hood, and using discretion on every turn, going so far as to seal the gunbai. He had discarded the hood since he came here. His true home was a few miles away, and anxiety built up. Naruto wasn't the brightest, he knew that. However, he was no fool either. There would be problems once he entered the village, imprisonment possibly one of them. His face was a dead giveaway to who he was, and he only prayed that his home was still the one he remembered. Hope brewed within him still, a fire that could not be stamped out. The sounds of crickets and other wildlife were like music to his ears. The moon was bright tonight, and the path was clear. He hummed a tune, and walked casually. If he was lucky there would be a party up ahead that would escort him to the village. He breathed in the fresh smell, and sighed in contentment. Madara's death made him a bit mellow. Footfalls reached his ears, and he narrowed his eyes. A group was heading towards him. They were all but sprinting. 6 of them in total, all of them had healthy chakra levels. The largest of them felt restrained, at war with itself. Please be Konoha shinobi, he kept chanting in his mind. He did not want to fight at the moment. Then they came, and stood across from him. They wore no headbands, but their clothes betrayed them. Large muscled dudes, white vests, and well, 2 of them were dark-skinned. Deep within his heart he felt ashamed for even assuming that. Who are you? One of them asked. He was the leader. They were on guard, all of them. In their midst, Naruto's eyes caught something unique. Someone much smaller than them, a head shorter than him perhaps, had a black bag over their head. She was female no doubt, as his eyes went lower. Naruto smartly began. He had 2 choices, stop them or let them pass. This wasn't his business, absolutely not. Then he heard the muffled yells coming from them. Oh fuck me, and my hero complex. He could just see Madara condescendingly shaking his head in disappointment from his grave. Look, we're all humans, and we should all get along. So, he looks like an Uchiha. Did you just cut me off? Naruto asked, as they began to discuss loudly. He's from the village. We should kill him, or take him hostage. Are you ignoring me? His annoyance grew with each word. The sounds of weapons clanking irritated him further. Oh for fuck's sake, Naruto scoffed, as 2 of them rushed him. He growled in annoyance, as the blades missed his face by inches. Well, they did try drawing first blood, so, swerving back, he drew a kunai from his own pouch before stabbing one of them in the eye. The man fell on his knees screaming, as blood leaked from the kunai metal piercing his head. Naruto caught the fist of the other man aiming for his face before twisting it, and swiped his foot across the man's face. The sound of bones snapping flinched the rest. Grabbing the head of the one experiencing a discount lobotomy, he drove it into the ground. His kunai emerged from the backside of the now very dead Kumo shinobi's head. Lightning rushed at him, and Naruto jumped in the air, narrowly missing it. The 4th one got close, grabbed Naruto's arm, and twisted it across his back. Imitating the reflexes of a stripper he'd once seen, he went under the legs of the shinobi, and made him fall on the ground. It was too sudden and unexpected. He didn't waste time. The axle of his foot collided with the man's nose, blue sandals now darkened with red stains. The man went into shock, and was about to scream, but Naruto lodged a kunai deep into his throat. He stared at the man who was about to use his again. Idiot. Red eyes trapped him in a world of burning flesh, and hallowed screams. The man himself shook violently before Naruto littered his face, throat, and chest with shuriken, each digging deep through the flesh, as they hissed and spun. I hate it when people cut me off, Naruto said, turning around, Sharingan on, and 2 shuriken in his hand. Ignoring me is damn right annoying. Hey, look at me when I talk to you. Fuck you. The man yelled in terror. His eyes didn't move away from his blood-tattered sandals, which he would have to clean now. He missed Shiro. I'm not looking in your fucking eyes. I assure you they are very pretty to look at, Naruto said with a smile, and more muffles came from the bag over the woman's head. See, she agrees. Shut up. The man held a kunai to her throat, and kneed her in the back, making her arch in pain. Naruto narrowed his eyes. A deep rage embroiled in the red irides. I'll kill her, I swear to Kumo. Close your fucking eyes. I could try that, it was a gamble, but one he was willing to play. If it didn't, all his plans would go straight to hell. Alright. Just calm down, fuckboy. Hearing the man bristle was satisfying, and Naruto shut his eyes. There, I closed it. Samurai's honor. Naruto felt the man's eyes on him. He could still smell the fear on him. Throw away your shuriken. Are you sure? Naruto asked, his right hand slowly rising, as the two small weapons rested between his fingers. I sorta like these. Throw it away or I kill this bitch. What crawled up your ass today? Naruto muttered before clenching his fist. Small winds gathered around them, and he hurled them to his right side. There. Are you happy? Put your fucking hands where I can see them. TSK, TSK. Naruto raised his arms in surrender. That's not what you should be saying, my very knife-happy friend. What? That's more like it. Naruto could tell the man was confused. He breathed in, and his face darkened with seriousness. He pointed at the Kumo shinobi with one finger. Omi wa Mao. What? He said, and Naruto waited, and waited. He waited further, and nothing happened. The hostage was saying something incoherent. The reborn Uchiha felt like hiding his face in shame. Oh, you have just got to be kidding me, Naruto muttered in annoyance. He'd been practicing this for months. All of it went down the drain. You know what? Just kill me on general principle. Can't believe I messed up with the time on that one. What? Shing. Metal rotated wildly, the man screamed, as Naruto heard flesh being torn apart, and opened his eyes. The shuriken had torn straight through his head, bits of his brain were lying around, and his face looked disgusting. One eyeball had exploded, the other one looked as if Akamaru had chewed on it before throwing it away. Tongue was hanging out, flopping like a fish, and red juice everywhere. Not a pretty sight. Naruto would have admired the impact behind his attack had it not been mistimed. Well, at least there were no witnesses to my failure. Forgive me, pop culture, I failed you. The hostage's moans told him otherwise. Oh right, Naruto walked over to her. The young woman was sitting on her knees, hands tied behind her back, and a bit of red on her yellow, dirted battle kimono. He was not a pervert like Jiraiya, no. He had a healthy admiration for the opposite sex, like every straight full-blooded man did, but he could not take his eyes off her once he removed the hood. Her face was beautiful, fair-skinned, dazzling violet eyes, and full lips, the lower one bleeding a bit. However, nothing caught his eyes more than her hair. Long, luscious, silky, the crimson tresses trailed down from her head to her waist. Whoa, he said, admiring her locks with his own hands, mesmerized by them. Wow, you have really pretty hair, you know. The girl mumbled something, and Naruto removed the gag, forgetting that she was still bound. He went back, and cut the ones tied around her arms, as well. Her perfect skin was marred by markings. Are you alright? He asked, not looking at her, as something else caught his eyes. She was around his age, perhaps younger. Yet, her figure was more full, more mature than those of his generation. Stop perving out, you lek, he told himself before he saw her legs. Black stockings came up to her rich, creamy thighs. Thigh-highs are my demise. Thank you. Her voice was tired yet sweet. It's alright, Naruto said, a bit loudly, mostly to make sure she didn't notice where his eyes were going. A whole year without sex was getting to him, and then this crimson-haired girl popped out of nowhere. God was cruel to him. So are you okay? You're an Uchiha, she said, suspicion present in her voice. I've never seen you in the village. Well, Naruto shrugged. Some clouds were blocking the bright moonlight. I wasn't born in the leaf, but I am heading there though. I could give you a ride. I can walk. She got up, and groaned in pain, touching her back. She fell on one knee, and Naruto did the same, getting closer. Son of a bitch kicked me too hard. If it's any consolation, his head was never in the right place. Much to his surprise, she chuckled a bit. You're funny. I try to be, Naruto admitted. Offer still up. She glared at him, giving him the look. I'm not an enemy. If I was, I wouldn't bother saving you. Don't get too touchy, she said, and Naruto picked her up in a bridal carry. You could have taken me on your back. Yeah, but that'd probably put too much pressure on your arms given how swollen they are, Naruto admitted, as he walked a bit before jumping up on a tree. Each step was now a leap from branch to branch. Leaves rushed past them, as he picked up his speed. Other than that, I don't mind carrying a beautiful woman like this. Oh, Jiraiya would be proud of him. I'm not, she mumbled, her face closer to his chest, as the clouds still shadowed the area. You are, Naruto countered. He frowned a bit. Did no one ever tell you that? Only those close to me, like they're supposed to, the redhead said. He looked down to see her frowning, as well, and stopped making small talk. I'm not your friend. You're just saying this to gain my trust. You even called my stupid hair pretty. I look like a stupid tomato like everyone else says. Bullshit. Naruto halted his pace, and stood on a great branch. He looked down at her with a grin. Your hair isn't stupid. It's really beautiful. Seriously, I could stare at it all day. The girl's face darkened, her cheeks flushed, and she looked away. God, she was cute. They said nothing more on the way, but the rigidness in her body language decreased as they got closer. She was more relaxed, and he ignored the urge to shiver as her arms locked around his neck. I almost forgot, he began trying to distract himself, laughing a bit. I'm Uchiha Naruto. Nice to meet you. What was your name again? Uzumaki Kushina. That's a nice name. Naruto nodded, and then the gears in his head slowly turned. Blue eyes widened further, and further, his jaw started to hang wide, and he looked down at her with shock on his face. She giggled a bit at his face, no doubt. You look funny. Why yeah, he choked out, and nervously laughed, which sounded more akin to a dying wheeze. He coughed, trying to clear his throat. Is something wrong? She asked eagerly. Oh, nothing. Naruto all but yelled. I'm fine. His voice came out too high. Are you sure? Kushina looked nervously at him. Yeah. It was still too high. The clouds finally departed, and he got a close look at her face. There was no doubt about it. This was her alright, a different version of his mother in a different space-time continuum. And the worst part was he liked the way she looked at him with those small hints of care in her eyes. This is so wrong. Naruto felt someone heading towards him, and his eyes widened further. A young blonde teen with blue eyes, garbed in white and black with a leaf headband on, stopped in his path. He felt guiltier when he saw the blonde's hand filled with strands of crimson hair. Oh God, I feel like such a big dick now. The shock in Namake's Minato's eyes was disheartening to look at. Kushina, he sounded like a whining puppy. Naruto closed his eyes and shook his head. Soon enough, more people appeared, garbed in gray vests, and armed with tanto on their backs. The NBU stood, all eyes on him. Breathing, he greeted them. Nice night for a walk, right guys? They said nothing. I don't think they trust you, Kushina wisely whispered to him. You don't say. The N. Thank you so much